like I said, last week, I felt like everybody, even Sawyer was sort of on that same page of like it just I even like the diet and it kind of ruins it for me a little bit. You know what I mean? I just think in general it feels like something we could all maybe get behind and just be like, yeah, probably not the best look to just retroactively make everything diet, but
Yeah. I didn't
what
even
do
know.
I know?
I didn't know people were.
It's a wave. It made a wave. It feels like every time one of these things comes up and you're like, here's how I feel. The whole Star Wars fandom's like, ah. And this one was another one, man.
Yeah.
Another one.
Maybe I should just go die.
I'm pretty sure that's what all the videos are about. Like, if you look at all those other videos, they're all like, man, I just wish this dude would drop off.
What are the
Why's he gotta
videos?
say this?
There's other
I saw
videos?
no. But I saw like the wave of videos basically saying, and to be fair, like I only really saw I don't even want to name names of people I saw talking about it. I saw a certain YouTuber make a video that seemed almost what subtweeting is?
No.
So subtweeting is this concept of like maybe you're not gonna
I don't go on Twitter, so I don't understand it.
yeah, so it's like I'm not gonna at you on something, but we follow each other or we know each other, and I'm gonna say some stuff about like your position on something, and it's called subtweeting. So like you're not like directly calling them out, but you like pretty much are.
So they're being
And
a
I
bitch?
Yeah, I saw a lot of people kind of doing that with the dyad thing in particular. It seemed like it really spawned, I don't know what it was. It seemed like it really spawned this wave of negativity and then that sort of like knee jerk like let's not get negative kind of energy, which like I understand and in some ways I'm the same way where I'm like, yo, let's get along and stuff, but I feel like you got to be able to be real about stuff too. Um yeah, I don't know. It seemed like for whatever reason, this was one in particular that people were like, "No, everybody freaking out about this is like wrong, and here's why," or whatever.
No one's freaking out about it. I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't know any.
Mhm.
This is so how I operate is I make my videos and then I just leave. Like I'll
Yeah, that's
upload and I just walk away and I go do other stuff.
well. It's funny because I was checked out this weekend too. I was in New York, and then came back and just catching up on stuff, and then seeing because you did that video like what, like 4 days ago or something,
I
four or
don't even
5 days
know.
ago.
I don't know. Yeah, it was like a week ago.
Yeah, the like don't Lucasfilm don't do this one, right? Whatever it was.
Yeah, stop. Like just stop doing this.
Right.
We're doing this crap.
Whatever. I feel like even today there was still just a lot of sort of people talking about it and sort of,
Nice. That's good.
yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So
Well, I'm
yeah.
glad I help with the overall engagement and discussion about Star Wars.
Yeah, I guess that's one way to say it.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I'm glad that you are
Hey,
too. I mean,
everyone's entitled to an opinion, including mine. As long as you're
true.
respectful and cordial with everybody and every other Star Wars fan, I feel like you should be able to have a voice.
But you know what's wild about that too though is I feel like I went even harder than you. I mean, you'd made a video about it where you sort of like condensed your, thoughts or whatever. And so I guess people view that that inherently is
Well,
problematic,
yeah,
Gary, if you didn't realize.
I did the Knights of Melvin did tell me that Star Wars Explained made a video, and I didn't watch it because I don't watch that stuff. I don't watch this stuff, but
Yeah.
I gathered from what they were saying, it was essentially just him making another video trying to retcon everything I say, or double against everything I say, which he's done a million times in the past.
That's sort of the impression I got. I didn't really watch the video either, but that's the impression I got from the tweet was it felt very, like I said,
Oh, there was a
subtweet
tweet.
kind of.
There was a
Yeah, that's
subtweet
what I saw.
from
I saw
who?
the tweet of Star Wars Explained.
Oh, he made a sub too. I don't know. He blocked
Yeah.
me after his wife made fun of me for crying about Luke Skywalker.
Well, it's probably her that's doing
I haven't seen it. Also, I don't go on Twitter.
Yeah. You'll never find a more villainous
I literally
scum.
don't open the app.
Yeah, it's very. I don't know. Twitter can be cool. It can be engaging, but it can also be.
Not because I'm like, oh, I can't read it. I read everything under the sun times 10. But I only have so much time in my life,
Yeah, for sure.
Why would I waste my time?
Especially because with you, it really seems. I mean, and it's probably just because of the size of your channel and all this perceived like sort of responsibility for it and stuff like that. But it really does seem. This is what I was saying. It was like it's crazy because I felt like it's been a week since we first talked about this, and when we were talking about it on last week's show, I felt like I reacted even more negatively to it than you. right? So I was like literally,
Right.
I was like wilding out, and I was kind of like, just I don't know, I was like really down about it, you know what I mean? And yet it feels like everybody like had their arrows, right? Where they were all like really angry, but then they just turned to you and then threw fire. And I'm like sitting there like, okay, cool. Like, like shot up, bro. So
That's fine.
yeah, it's thanks, I guess. Thanks for shielding me, you know.
No problem.
Thanks for being a bro about it. Appreciate you.
It is what it is. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about something actually interesting, which is Anakin, the King of Star Wars, returning.
Yes.
And we're all very excited about this. So let's get some of the boys in from Nerd Council. Do you want to send them the link? I'm going to send a...
Yeah, I can send the link. This was such a fun story.
Let's get... I'm going to send it to Danny now, too. Do you want to send it to Danny, too? We can just get everybody in here.
Yeah. So this was so fun. Did you see that Rosario had to delete her post about it?
I did.
Yeah, so that's pretty wild, right? Because she, man, she's kind of flagrant with that stuff. Like, remember when they asked her about Ahsoka originally, and she said something like, "That's not confirmed, but I can't wait till it's confirmed." Like, you know what I mean? Like, such a weird. Yeah, that's what she said about Ahsoka. Like way back in the day when it was first getting sort of heating up. And she's sort of flagrant with that. I was sort of surprised that they made her delete it. You know what I mean? They were like, "No, you can't be saying that."
It's already out there. Like, it's too
well,
late.
it was the Hollywood. It was a Hollywood trade that broke it too. It's not like it was, no offense to the scoopers and everything, but it's not like it was a scooper and an insider. Like this is the Hollywood trade, and they have like a relationship with Disney, right? So like they wouldn't do this if it wasn't confirmed by some good people. And so the way some of this happens sometimes is like one of the trade reporters will get at somebody with the studio as a representative and be like, "Look, I know this is happening. I'm gonna run it. Do you guys have a comment or whatever?" And sometimes, from what I understand, I don't know 100%, but from sometimes they'll be like, "Don't run that" or whatever. You know what I mean? And they'll like be against it. So I've always thought that when a trade breaks something, there's sort of this tacit approval and just kind of like an okay nod from the studio. But it's weird. It's weird that she would delete that post. It was pretty funny, the post. I thought it was cool.
I thought it was cool too. Star Wars Explained video was a direct response to Theory's video, basically saying he overreacted and that Theory is misinterpreted. That's great. He can keep talking about me. That's awesome.
Did he mention you by name though? Like, I guess I would wonder if
chat. No, I don't watch his stuff. I don't watch any other Star Wars YouTuber.
Yeah,
I just don't have time. I don't.
Yeah.
Time doing that.
Yo, chat. Did he even mention him by name? I'm just curious. I'm not even trying to like start something. I'm just curious.
No, but he's done that so much in the past, years ago, when he tried to befriend me, and then just
Danny said he's got a little bit of time anyway, so he'll be coming in like a couple minutes.
Okay, cool.
Send it out to Callus.
Nice, sweet. That's where the fun begins. If there's an opening for the council, I'll happily volunteer as tribute. Cool.
But yeah, man, Hayden back. Well, I mean, I saw that you reacted to it, but like, what's your? I mean, obviously, it's like Dune? The best thing ever. But
we did watch Dune. To ignore Josh's comment because we're going to get to it in a minute. It's probably going to be a long show. We did watch Dune. We watched Dune on Movie Bros together. We did a watch party and it was amazing. Absolutely loved it.
I just watched it again today, actually, when I was sort of zoinked out, and I love the movie, man. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. It's pretty mixed, I guess, in how people are taking it. A lot of people are saying it's pretty boring.
What?
Yeah. It's doing good in the theaters, but it's not like doing great. You know what I mean? It's not smashing stuff. So I think we'll still get a part 2, which is really, what it's all about. And maybe he can make it a little more everybody's cup of tea. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. So on today's topic, Anakin returning in Ahsoka and Kenobi, which makes me wonder, what else are they going to make him return in? What are they going to put him in? Are they going to put him in some other show? Are they going to put him in more, I don't know, flashbacks perhaps? I mean, I'd love to get to see him in some Clone Wars flashbacks. That'd be really sweet. Order 66 flashbacks. I'd love to see him just chopping down Jedi Masters, Jedi Knights, Jedi Padawans. Let me say that clearly. I want to see him go absolutely crazy and just do what needs to be done.
Yeah,
think would be cool.
absolutely.
I think, and we got to see a glimpse of that in Revenge of the Sith, and I want to see more of it. We got to see it in the games, and I want to see more of it on screen.
Bruh, it's
Cancel me.
so cool. It's crazy. Like I can't believe like I we knew that he was coming back for Kenobi, and I sort of had a sense that if he did well in that show, they were gonna really sprinkle him throughout. But to me, Ahsoka is maybe one of the last shows I thought he would appear in, right?
Right.
So just plainly, like that is sort of head scratching, and it kind of lets you know maybe that they've got crazy plans. Like we've always thought, Filoniverse epic, what they're doing with Mando, Luke, all this stuff. They might throw some Thrawn in there, and we'll have some Heir to the Empire, call it a day. But like this Anakin bit, this opens the door to so many interesting possibilities, right? Because I think like you said, like the flashback for sure. It totally would play that some of the flashback stuff we heard may or may not happen in Kenobi would be fair game for Ahsoka as well, because she would be remembering stuff, right? That's plain awesome. There's fun ways they could use him in the sense of having a holocron of like actually Vader or something, or some message or some weird teachings or communication with Thrawn, something that he had. There's a lot of fun stuff they could do like that. But there's a whole other side of stuff they could do that would be like beyond just interesting, but like really bold, right? So one of the things they sort of tease out in that first breaking article is the possibility of a Force ghost scene with Anakin. Like it's in there. It seems like the author's speculating, but it almost seems like they're saying something without saying something. You know what I mean?
So, boy.
Hey,
yo.
What's up?
What's up, man?
How are you?
It's great to
Good.
see you, dude.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me on, bro. It's been a long time coming.
I know, man.
Sir.
Glad to have you on. Geekdom, everybody. This is Geekdom. If you haven't seen his videos, go check him out. He is the biggest Dragon Ball creator on Namek.
Well, maybe not the biggest, but definitely the best. So
yeah, there you go.
There we go. It's a pleasure to be here, man. Thanks for inviting me today. I've been wanting to talk to y'all for a while. Theory, you and I have never actually had a verbal
We've never
conversation
had a face-to-face. Yeah, so this is dope. This is the first time.
Yeah, man. And we both have an equal love for the gym. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Equal love for the ladies, especially the Cuban ones. You came to my country at one point. It's all good.
Yes.
And of course, I've been on Den of Nerds a bunch of times, but the pleasure to be here, bro. Anakin is back, bro. Obi-Wan, Ahsoka. Hayden's getting some paychecks this year.
100%, dude.
Hayden's getting paid. And the royalties too. Like the thing that's fun about it is he's gonna break into that legacy royalties place as well, right? So like he's gonna get paid, but also like he's gonna get paid. Like this is a big deal in a lot of ways, man. I'm pretty excited.
People talk a lot about Disney this and Disney that, but one thing about Disney is they do.
Yeah, for sure.
They take care of you, bro. Just ask Dwayne Johnson. You know what I'm saying?
That's why. Yeah. Well, it's a hey, look, it's a smart move, right? Like if you want to sort of smooth some edges and have a good PR basis out of there, that one of the best ways is to take care of the most influential people, right? So they, especially when it's an actor, like they're gonna pay so you don't retweet certain things. You know what I mean? Like you're getting that kind of money, which is all good. But
yeah. I almost feel like I'm just excited that they're bringing them back. I didn't think that they would, especially with the constant failed attempts in the sequels. Like JJ wanted to bring him back as like a Force ghost that was alternating between the light and dark, and then he comes in. He was going to come in at episode 9 or whatever, and it never happened. But we see in the concept art, so finally we get to see him, in the flesh, which is going to be cool.
Well, it's going to be the burnt flesh because it's they can't actually show him
flashbacks.
Flashbacks, yeah, that's the only way. I was gonna say it's either before he's Vader or he's gonna be like what we saw in Rogue One in the tank, like what you shot for the Vader film, angled up or whatever,
gnarled up and everything. Yeah, it would be sweet. But I mean, the thing with him as Vader is, if they're going to be showing him as Vader, then he takes off the helmet for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just him in like a back to tank scene, because that would just be like, why would you have him in there for 2 seconds? It's like they're definitely going to have him either have his face ripped off, like his helmet ripped off in like battle, or he's going to take his helmet off. Maybe he's I don't know. I could see him like hyperventilating and just being like, "Holy crap! Like, what is happening?" Or like just getting used to this transition period between episode 3 and episode 4. And this is right in the middle. It's 10 years after, so he's probably still like whatever he is. Let's say he's like full Vader in episode 4. This is half of him. So
right. You're talking about
some wild
for Kenobi right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was against, and I'll be honest, I kind of still am against a Vader Kenobi fight in between 3 and 4, because I feel like the line in 4 where he talks about the last time we met, I was about to learn, but now I'm the master, is perfect for Mustafar. Like, that's a perfect connective tissue. So them fighting in between 3 and 4, I'll be honest, bro, I'm still very rocky on that. I like the idea they hadn't seen each other in 20 years.
Yeah,
but if they're going to do a thing where he meets Obi-Wan, and even though Vader might be more powerful physically, that doesn't mean anything, because like Yoda said, man, not this crude matter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I feel like if they fight again, it could be a thing where Obi-Wan outsmarts him again or uses the Force again. But what they could do is like what we saw in the season finale of Rebels, where maybe Obi-Wan cracks his helmet and we see like half his helmet, and that's when you see Hayden's face on the inside. That I think would be cool, and I think Hayden would be up for that.
That would be dope. Yeah, actually, that'd be sick if you saw like just a portion of it. But I want to see more. I want to see the full Hayden. I want to see bald, scarred Hayden, man.
Dude, I think they might do an Iron Man type thing where they do some shots like within the helmet, and they have him like just like his expression, right? Which is something we've never really had like with Vader. No, dude,
that would be
sick.
It would be his eyes
out of here.
His mouth is hooked on the
you would still apparatus. Right, exactly. So it would be more like, it would actually be just like a Bacta tank, except it would be like inside the helmet. Like they'd have to figure it out, obviously, in a cool way. But like we've never got to see like him, like while he's fighting, like his like what is his eyes doing when he's staring him down.
Oh, Geekdom, you got a message here. Hey, Geekdom, I love you, Dragon Ball content. I think you're one of the most reliable Dragon Ball YouTubers, says Tomaku-san.
Thank you, Tomako-san. I appreciate that. Yeah, we have a lot of exciting stuff coming out now when it comes to Dragon Ball. The manga's still kicking. We got a movie coming out next year that's going to be very interesting, and all that's going to be covered on the channel. So I do cover Dragon Ball on Geekdom 101. That's my main channel. I do talk a little bit about Star Wars and movies on my second channel, World of Geekdom. That one's more like there's no editing. It's all like kind of just me just talking, just whatever's on my mind. Kind of like what you do in your second channel, Theory, like more like Theory's Arcade, more like relax, like,
just like anything. Yeah.
Anything. Yeah. Geekdom 101's Dragon Ball to the max. But if you are a Dragon Ball fan, check that out. But we're not talking about Dragon Ball today. We're talking about the return of Hayden for the first time since what, 2015?
It's been a
2005.
while,
No, 2005. Oh, well, do you count that one line he had in episode 9? The voice, that was one line.
No, hell no.
One line.
No. And we got one of the biggest Anakin fans right there.
That way.
Well, I don't know.
Actually,
Cat
if it's cool with you, I'll talk about Anakin later on, because remember you and I talked about that video idea I had about the anxious attachment style? I wouldn't mind talking about that.
Let's go for it.
It's important.
Yeah.
No, whenever you're ready, bro. I'm not going to take over this thing.
What is it?
Dude,
I want to know.
Chilling, man. There's no like how I work is like, even when you were asking me like what time are you going, I'm just like, I don't know, like
whenever
30, 40. Yeah, well, I'm just super laid back. I just like, there's no schedule. I never plan videos. I don't have videos ever planned. Everything is off the cuff for like the last 5 years. That's just how I roll.
Not me, man. I got videos planned all the way till next month. I always
really? Damn.
Yeah, bro.
I'm like I'm in between that. Some days I'm more like, wow, you guys are like the devil and angel on my shoulders right now. This is
what are you like? Are you in the middle? Are you in between?
I'm pretty much in the middle, yeah. Something like I'll like to plan stuff out, but okay, I can keep it pretty chill.
Well, now everything changed. Now you got two devils over here.
True.
This is how it works.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm weird. I just operate differently like that. I don't know why.
No, anyways. What I was going to discuss was basically here's kind of, so I watch a lot of your content, Theory, and a lot of people who not only watch you, but also people who are probably in this call right now, they feel like Revenge of the Sith is their favorite Star Wars movie. And it's definitely the most action-packed of all of them. My favorite is Return of the Jedi, because I just love Luke. Luke is my dude. But a lot of people trash on the prequels. Well, they used to, not so much anymore. Now we have that generational thing.
No, they still do, man. There was an article that came out today on CNET or something like that, where they were like, take Jar Jar out of the prequels or something like that.
Like, still?
I've seen that.
Yeah.
2021, bro.
Yeah.
They're still complaining about that.
Disrespecting my man.
But no one
Ahmed,
talks
how
about
dare
that.
they?
Yeah, no one.
I know, right? It's crazy, especially like after all the stuff he went through.
What I want to discuss with you, we could do a separate video later on if you want to about this, but I love the original trilogy. I'm an OT. That's what I grew up with. That's my favorite. But what people have to understand, because the thing about me is I'm also a big George Lucas-like historian, is when George Lucas wrote the prequel trilogy starting in 1994, he was a different man than when he wrote the original trilogy. A decade had gone by. His kids were older. He was an older man. And what people have to understand about the prequels is that, yes, they do have their fair share of problems. But the one thing that they got right besides Palpatine, they got that perfect, on an even more advanced level is what happened to Anakin Skywalker and why he became Darth Vader. Because for a long time, I didn't like that. It doesn't really coincide with what I had thought as a kid was what happened to Anakin. Because when you watch the original trilogy with no context of the prequels, you're thinking Anakin's this like war hero who eventually goes to the dark side, not because of his wife. And you hear Leia say, "I remember her." So you don't really think that Padme died prior to her birth or right as she was born. But what he did, and I love talking about this, bro, because it's so deep. The older George Lucas, when he wrote Anakin in the prequels, he wrote a character that's very realistic because Anakin grew up without a father and his mother died when he was in 19, something like that, roughly like 18, 19.
Yeah,
episode 2.
19.
19. So he's got what is referred to in psychology, and I love studying psychology, what's called anxious attachment style. And what happened was, you know about this?
A little bit, because I took AP psychology in high school.
This is why episode 3 is secretly brilliant, because when Anakin's mom died, they call it in psychology your worldview. It's actually, this is all like psychological stuff.
Yeah.
His whole worldview shifted, like his love for his mom shifted over to Padme. Like he had like a romantic interest in her, but his whole life became her. And so
that's a very common thing. That's a very common thing that you find among people who are in relationships. When a parent dies, they end up becoming a lot closer and a lot more emotionally attached to their partner. That's a very common thing that happens.
And let me tell you how I know that, because that happened to me. My mom died when I was 22, and because of that, I developed this is how I even know about this. I developed this tremendous anxiety where I became clingy for a long time with the women I would date. And all of a sudden, I'm watching Revenge of the Sith, and I'm like, this dude was so clingy to his wife that he was willing to sell his soul to the devil to keep her alive. That's pretty much, it's a metaphor for that. I mean, we have the virgin birth in episode 1. Luke did a lot of like philosophical stuff. He sold his soul to the devil to keep her alive, because basically the way it works is, you know how like when you're too clingy with like your partner, you push him away sometimes. Right. That's kind of what he did. He kind of pushed Padme away. And it's deep. I could talk about this all night, but I wanted you to talk about it because episode 3 has a lot of deeper layers to that character that I've been looking for videos on YouTube, and there's a couple of them, but there's not many.
People don't understand. For me, I always thought, I didn't know what the term was psychologically, but I feel like when his mom died, he kind of blamed the Jedi for everything. Even in the beginning, he was having dreams. He's like, I have dreams of my mom, and Obi-Wan's just like, your thoughts betray you. It's like, don't worry about it. Just disregard it. And then she finally dies, and he's like, I wasn't strong enough to save you. And he's like, this is not going to happen again when it came to Padme. With someone else dying, it like hit a nerve, right? It's like you get bullied a lot when you're a kid. If someone says something again, like 20 years later, you're going to be like, you get a little hit because you're like, I remember when this happened. Like, this isn't going to happen again. So I feel like that's the same thing that happened with him. His mom died, and he wasn't strong enough to save her. And then he's like, I'm not going to let this happen again with Padme now. And so he was going to do anything he could. Because I feel like if Padme died, the roles would be reversed. Like, he would do the same thing for his mom, you know?
Right, but the thing is, when it comes to like real life psychology, this is all like it starts with your it's called your primary caregiver. It could be your mom, your dad, your grandma, whoever you attach to between the age of 0 and 4 years old. You can look all this up, by the way. I'm just doing all the work for you. So no, but I am though. So it's interesting. It's interesting though because I did it for myself. It's very interesting because I noticed that Lucas. Remember, he went through a divorce. This dude, when he wrote episode 3, was a totally different man than he was when he first wrote the original trilogy. So people have to understand that, okay, you might not have the most cohesive story compared to Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi, but you have a different story. So what I wanted to say was, with Anxious Attachment Style, yeah, he was so clingy to his partner. And we do this as humans. In real life, we do this where we're so clingy to our men and women do it, that we kind of push them away, or they're kind of like, okay, like give me some space here. That's kind of where he was at, just in a more science fiction-y way. Because remember, even at the end, she was like, don't do this, Anakin, don't do this. Like, she didn't want him to. He's over here telling him, no, I saved your life by joining Palpatine, when really she was like, no, you didn't have to do any of that. Like, you overstepped your boundaries. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're crazy. I don't even know you anymore. Yeah.
She would have rather herself die than see him become that.
Yeah.
And she did. And she did, you know.
And at the end of the day, it kind of shows how Anakin and Luke are very much two sides of the same coin, because Anakin exhibits the unhealthy aspects of attachment, whereas Luke exhibits the healthy versions. He doesn't have attachment to the point where he ends up becoming extremely selfish and saying, like, no, this is how I want the people that I love to be. He instead uses his love and attachment, and you should regret it, Anakin. He uses it to help the people around him, whereas Anakin uses it as an excuse for anxiety, and in a way kind of destroys himself because of it.
Bingo.
And I like how we get to see a lot of that with Clovis in that 6th season, where he's beating on Clovis with his robot arm. And like,
I mean,
just a finance
Clovis deserved it, but at the same time, like, shouldn't have gone as far as he did.
Clovis absolutely deserved it. Yeah. All I'm saying is, like, Clovis is like a banker, and Anakin is the most powerful Jedi in a season.
Yeah, that's why he should have stopped. But Clovis was straight up about to sexually assault Padme, so I don't blame Anakin for being like, no.
Right. And when he was Vader, at that point, he was a broken man. He lost his mom. He lost his wife. He thought he lost his kids. So, because she was pregnant and he thought that they were dead. So this dude was just a complete shell of himself. And then that's when the dark side kind of really, Lucas, the metaphor for the dark side, like in real life, us as humans, we have a light and a dark side. We all have it. And it's very deep when you think about it. Obviously, it's based on Eastern religion, Eastern philosophy. But he just lost everything. He had no reason to live. He was only living to be alive. Like, because the machines, he probably wished he was dead many times, you know, in some ways. But when the dark side got in his head, it was like, you know, I'm out. And then his son, realizing that his son and his daughter were alive, started because I'll tell you this. I'm going to name a scene for you in Return of the Jedi that nobody ever talks about. I'm about to blow your mind right now. You ready for this? I've been waiting for this theory. I've been telling you about this. I'm about to blow your mind. This is why Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. I'm about to blow your mind. There's some secret stuff in that movie nobody ever talks about. So there is a scene about halfway to the movie where Vader confronts Palpatine. And the Emperor and Vader's like, my son is with them, you know, on the moon. And the Emperor goes, search, you know, how do you know? And he goes, I felt him. And the Emperor goes,
I have not.
Strange that I have not. You know why? Because at that point, the dark side and the light side were about to shift. Luke gaining more power. Vader slowly turning, which started in Empire, slowly but surely coming back. The Emperor's power began to wane. Now, ignore 7, 8, and 9. This is not Luke. Ignore that crap. That's garbage. Ignore it. It never happened. Return of the Jedi was the end of the story. This dude, on that day, people were complaining, oh, it doesn't make sense that
Rocco's so pissed.
You know how people say a bunch of teddy bears beat the Empire. Oh, it was a bunch of teddy bears. You know, no. The Empire was meant to lose on that day because the Force willed it to happen. It doesn't matter if there were teddy bears for the Ewoks or whatever excuse the fans make to hate on that movie. They were going to lose because the Emperor was losing his control of the Force. It was shifting back to Anakin.
And he kind of saw it coming
Luke.
too. That's the point of the contingency, is that he sees a shatter point coming, and he knows that it's possible, although unlikely, that that's the moment that he will lose it. You know,
it was in fact the prophecy being fulfilled, because
the prophecy.
Yeah, because Anakin was the chosen one, and at that point, he is his redemption. He then becomes a Jedi defeating the Sith. His redemption kills the apprentice, right? There's only two Sith. There's the Master, the apprentice. His redemption kills the apprentice and brings about the Jedi himself, right? And he's the one that then destroys Sidious, right? So it's just the prophecy being fulfilled.
Wherever he goes,
he's the only one that has wholly destroyed the Sith as a Jedi.
When people say that, like, it's unrealistic that the Ewoks won, first of all, it was their home turf.
It's not about the Ewoks, dude.
Number two,
I don't know why people say that.
People always say that, and it's like, no, dude, you don't understand.
Play Ewok Hunt and tell me that.
Yeah, that shit was scary, bro. They're a rough little.
But I'm just saying that the Force, the Emperor was losing power, bro, and it's in the film. You just have to watch it. It makes perfect sense. On that day, even though the Emperor gave away the location of the Death Star and he was all trapped and all that, it didn't matter because the Force had already shifted. It was pretty much, I don't want to say prophesized, but I guess it was. You know, it was pretty much, that was the day that the dark side was going to die, no matter what. And it makes the movie better when you watch it like that, and you kind of know that, you know.
I never thought of it like that. I thought of it like Vader is starting to turn back into. Well, Anakin was never really fully dead. I feel like Anakin was always in there, and once he learned about his son, he was starting to resurrect. He was starting to wake up, and George was always like, you know, Luke was never the chosen one. He was just the catalyst. And so once Vader was like, oh wow, I have a son, that was when his part of Anakin started to be reborn and like wake up a little bit, and his connection to Padme increased, because he's like, this son is the only last bit of Padme that I have left. And then of course he found out that, you know, he has a daughter too, and then it was just, you know, even more. But when it came to that, I feel like it was uncertain at that point, and the Emperor was so convinced that he could turn Luke if Vader would, you know, fail, let's say, that it just seemed like to me that nothing was really set in stone until the moment where Vader looked back and forth at the Emperor and Luke being fried, and having his son call out for him, be like, my son is killing himself. He's literally just going to end his life so that he can save me for love. And this is something that Padme was always talking about, and it reminded him of that. And I feel like in that moment is when he made that shift, the full shift. But I think up until that moment, it was like the lead up from episode 1 to episode 3, where he turned to the dark side, where people are like, oh, it happened in an instant. It didn't really happen. It was just such this like a long timeline of little things that were happening. In Legends, the first time Anakin killed someone, this is like super Legends, I don't even remember what the source was. I think it was an old Star Wars book, but he set someone on fire as a kid with the Force. Yeah, and Obi-Wan was like, that moment, he was like, holy crap, Choco, do you know what book this is?
No,
I can't remember.
I'm not familiar with that one. That's dark.
That's dark. That's a rough.
Yeah, it was like one of those like scholastic, you know, like 1990 whatever, or maybe like
with Ranger.
Mom, can I go to the Scholastic Book Fair and get?
Do you guys remember that? Yeah, it was like one of those. Yeah, it was like one of those. And it was that moment Obi-Wan was like, holy crap. So I just feel like it was this long-winded like turn of events. Verse 3, he turns to the dark side, and then 4, 5, 6, he turns to the light side again, but it just takes forever. And I don't think it was ever set in stone that day would be the day. I think if the Emperor didn't try to kill Luke, then things might have been different. Because it was that pressure, it was that moment that Vader was put under, where he's like, I need to do something. And if you notice, it's kind of a rhyme, which I love how George did that. No one ever talks about this. In that pressurized moment is the same moment in Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin sees that Palpatine is about to die, and he makes that move. And here he sees Luke is about to die, and he makes that move. So it's like it's cool like that. I feel like in that moment, and when Anakin's under pressure, he'll do something, and it'll change the fate of the galaxy.
But like you said, it was building. I'm just saying
building,
that
100%.
the fact that the Emperor was losing, like he couldn't sense Luke, but Vader could. It's not just their connection. I think he was losing his connection to the Force.
It was much like
I never took that as face. I took it as the Emperor just lying, being like trying to play with Vader, being like, weird. I don't. I wonder why you do, to make Vader like think internally and be like.
I never took it like that, man.
Yeah,
I took that as foreshadowing of what was to come at the end of the film.
Kind of like the way that Yoda just they were clouded because of that shift from the dark side overtaking the light. So that shift was happening.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's a good one.
Yeah, which is kind of what happened in the Plagueis book when they did their ritual and they felt a big shift in the galaxy. You know?
I just don't think the Emperor would ever like full on tell Vader, be like, "Oh, weird, you can sense something, but I can't." You know, that's why I was always like, "Oh, maybe he's just."
I thought he was just thinking out loud. Strange that I have not. Are you sure your feelings are clear?
I always took that as after when Vader and Luke met on Cloud City, and then we have that scene at the end, father, son, like they forged a connection. When we know that the more time you spend with people, like, and the more emotionally attached you can start to feel each other. I just took it as that, like, Emperor and Luke weren't chilling; they weren't homies. So, like he said, obviously Vader's gonna be better at sensing him. That's how I understood it.
Interesting. That's a cool discussion. I love these kind of talks. They're fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Empire was going to lose that day, man. I think that's what I feel. I feel like that was their day.
So let me ask you.
All the pieces lined up perfect,
Let me ask you, what do you think would have happened if the Emperor wasn't trying to fry Luke?
I think eventually, maybe what would have happened is Lando would have blown up the Death Star. They all would have died.
Yeah, I don't think that wouldn't have ever happened, because if there's no other way. Remember that the Emperor wanted Vader to destroy Luke.
And vice versa.
It was Vader saying, well, maybe he can be turned, So him being there was only to fulfill that possibility. If he's not going to turn to the dark side, then he has to be destroyed.
I don't believe that. I don't think so.
I also feel like Vader was going to turn on the Emperor anyways at some point, because that's teasing Empire. Empire, he says.
But
for sure.
Palpatine always did this crap though. He was always like he told Dooku, he's like, "Yo, just toy with Anakin," and he made Dooku think that me, Anakin, and the Emperor are just gonna sort of rule the galaxy, and then Dooku's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make my Sith army," blah blah blah.
Think about what he said though in Empire. The son of Anakin can destroy us. He can destroy us.
And that's what he says back to his son. He says the Emperor has foreseen your power. He knows you can destroy him. That's what he says.
Yeah,
right?
There's no way he was leaving that. Unless he was to join. At least that's how I saw it.
He was always trying to turn Luke, I feel like. He was always trying to find a replacement for Vader, because once Vader lost, he was like, this guy's not what he used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't care about anybody but himself. That's why he's a great villain. I mean,
that's why he cannot be looking for.
I think he's one of the best villains ever.
He might be the best cinematic villain
ever. When Luke stands, over his father and he tosses his lightsaber, and he's just
pissed.
You can see the Emperor's face, like you son of a bitch.
That's why he's my favorite character, bro. That's why he's like, nah.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna give in. I'm stronger than my dad. Not physically, mentally. He's mentally stronger than Anakin was.
I mean, that must have messed his head up, because as a Jedi, just a Jedi Knight at that point, full-fledged Jedi Knight, he's tossing away the Jedi's weapon in front of the most powerful man in the universe. He's tossing away his weapon. Like, that's like a head fuck right there.
It shows how much stronger he was than the rest of them, that he didn't need weapons to defeat them. He pretty much he pretty much admitted to them, I don't need to fight you with force because I'm already stronger in will.
And do you think if he had kept the saber, he'd be able to block it though? Because I think he would have probably.
Hell no, dude. In the book, in the book, he blocked the lightning with his hand for like a couple seconds, and it bounced off into the walls. And he's like, "Yoda never taught me about this." He full on used 2 Dominus, which is like an extremely powerful ability. And he's like, put his hand up and it was like, and it went off and it hit the walls, and then he just got destroyed.
Yeah, because Yoda's the only one in the movies who ever blocked lightning that we saw.
Yeah, but Luke, without any training, without knowing Force lightning exists, was able to do that.
Well, it also just goes to show you that the Force is more about your focus, your will, and your determination. I mean, that was the whole point of why Luke failed in his training, is he didn't believe he could do it. He could have tossed the X-wing wherever he wanted to. He just didn't believe it.
Yeah, fair.
I don't think at that point he could have. I think he
could have. I think he absolutely could have lifted it. The problem was
he was
himself.
And then he
it's sort of a weird argument, because it's like you're both kind of saying the same thing, because you're saying like he couldn't have done it, but like could he have physically done it, but he can't do it because he doesn't believe. It's the same thing. Like he's capable of doing it technically. There's no limitations in the Force, right? But his mind is limiting him, you know.
I think one of the best sort of depictions of that was in Dooku, in the Dooku novel, where Yoda is speaking to Dooku about him moving that. You guys remember that?
No, I'm actually not familiar with this one.
Yeah, well, Yoda was asking Dooku to move this planter, right? That was supposed to be very, very, very heavy.
Oh, in Dooku Jedi Lost?
Yeah, remember that? Yeah. And so it was sort of that same concept where you could have done it. It's just here, you telling yourself that it weighs. Stop thinking that it has physical weight.
Right.
We're not thinking about it like
It's like the Matrix. Do you think that's air you're breathing? You know what I mean? It's like that same idea.
I love it, bro. I love both of these franchises because they borrow from Eastern philosophy, like Dragon Ball does. It's very similar. You have Ki, you have the Force. It's all the same thing, and I love it. I just love that kind of stuff because some of it, like people argue whether or not it's real. I don't know, man, because
it's real, dude. It is super real.
Like energy, like human energy.
100% is real.
We've seen mothers when their children are in danger lift like vehicles. We've heard stories of people doing this. Like
That's
human
true.
beings have
Danny,
like.
Let me tell you something that a lot of people are going to think I'm a nutcase more than I already am.
You lifted a car.
I have done that, but in competition, but not.
This guy.
Yeah. That's not the
first thing, bro.
Yeah, right. No, I almost thought I like ripped my butthole out of my body.
Oh my!
Be careful.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So the thing about Ki that you mentioned. So my dad studied in Japan. He studied Aikido, and he studied in the States. Aikido with all the old masters like Tabata Sensei, Toi Sensei. Like he knew all of them. And
really?
Yeah, dude. And
I gotta talk to you about this at some point, bro.
Yeah, and so he opened up a dojo here when I was younger, and very heavy in meditation, very heavy in the techniques and self-defense and all that, but very heavy in the meditation. And he's told me crazy stories about his masters, and one in particular when they were training, they were in Hawaii and they were training, and I think it was Tabata Sensei's father, or maybe I'm wrong, but. He got a chopstick and he had my dad fold it up with a piece of paper and had my dad hold the wooden chopsticks just like this. And Sensei took the paper that was folded, sent energy through it, and just went like this, and the whole thing snapped in half. When I was a kid, my dad did a demonstration in the mall where it was called Keeping One Point, and it's where you meditate on the spot. And he had a gentleman from the crowd come pick me up, and I did this. It was like a party trick at that point. I was 3 years old, and this guy comes up from this crowd, big guy, and it's on video. It's on a VHS. Comes up from the crowd, lifts me up, and I was like, I don't know, what are you when you're 3 years old, like 20 pounds? Lifts me up, no problem. Puts me back down, and my dad whispers in my ear. He says, "Keep one point now." And there's like this big crowd of people. The guy I remember looking at the guy's face, and he's turning like beet red, trying to lift me off the ground, and he can't at all.
Theory is Mjolnir confirmed.
Bro,
these are different ancient Japanese martial arts and abilities that Western culture doesn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
No, and it's real because my roommate is a 5th degree black belt in Aikido, and Aikido and Aikido Jiu-Jitsu is all about manipulation of energy and force. Like, if you ever watch Steven Seagal, the older films, very realistic.
Very real. New ones.
New ones.
No, not the new ones. He throws a punch at you. You basically grab him. You could literally flip him across the room. Yeah. You're using his own momentum against him. And it's all about leverage and all that. It's all very real. Obviously, I don't think we can levitate objects with our mind, but
I don't know if we could. That'd be cool if we could, but
be cool. But energy's real. I think
very real. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Quantifiably real. Yeah, absolutely.
So, anyways, I think that's one reason why I was so drawn towards Dragon Ball Z and Star Wars, because the idea of the Force, I was like, holy crap, like, and I was a little kid. I'm like, this is something my dad's been teaching me since I was a little kid, and I've been reading in all these like ancient, like old Japanese books about Aikido and meditation and ki and the transfer of energy, like all of this stuff. I'm like, this is like, and funny enough, that's kind of what George is talking about in Star Wars. So when he was a kid, he got into a car crash. I don't know if you know this. And after that car crash, it completely just changed the course of his life. So after that, he felt that there was a huge connection with every single living thing, as a human, as an animal, insect, whatever it may be, not just on this planet, but in the entire galaxy and the cosmos, and the universe. And it was this philosophy that he had when he almost died, which, funny enough, the car did like a bunch of different flips and his seatbelt just came undone and he flew out the car, which saved his life. And that was how he actually didn't die. Otherwise, he'd be dead. There'd be no, we wouldn't be here talking about this, you know? That's so wild. Everything is connected in a way. We're all connected in some sort of shape or form. And energy in itself is very, very real. Whether, you know, the Western world wants to know about it or not, but it's there.
It's creepy too.
I've seen crazy stuff that I just don't talk about because, again, the Western world would just be like, they don't know.
Bro, listen, it's Halloween next Sunday.
Yep.
I've seen, because I'm just like you. I grew up. Cubans are very superstitious. I'm not, but I have seen weird things like that have no explanation, bro. And I'm not like a guy who I think is easily, what's the word? I'm not easily gullible. I try to look at scientific more than anything. Yeah. And plus we actually have some scientific proof of energy. We have some. It's just those Eastern guys are, I mean, dude, there's dudes who have like fire blankets thrown on themselves. They don't feel any pain. Like, that's wild to me. That's wild.
It's the power of the mind. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's so much more to this life than what people just see, which is cool. I hope we all discover it more one day. Anyways, back on topic. Vito's in the chat. Vito! Percent of gravity is the key to your energy flow. Remember to focus determines reality from one martial artist to another. Yes, my brother. Absolutely.
Right. There's Vito.
Yeah. Feeds. Okay, so about Annie, what do you guys want to see with him in Ahsoka? Josh and I have talked about it a lot.
Yeah. Let's get some of these ladies talking, man.
I just want to cry. Well, I was going to ask the fellow ladies. I mean, I think we're all just...
Yeah, I want the ladies
to talk. We all have the same childhood crush. I mean, this is like...
I've been waiting for this since 2008. I've been wanting a live-action Ahsoka and Anakin together since she first showed up in the Clone Wars movie. That's all I've wanted, and so now I'm very excited about this.
Retweet.
I have a question, though. Okay, I would like to see Anakin as a Force ghost talking to Ahsoka, guiding her. I would like that. However, and I've talked about this with Josh before, why, and this is a real problem for me, but why is it that Anakin can be a Force ghost and help Ahsoka and guide her through, problems? Why didn't he appear to Kylo Ren and say, hey, that voice you're hearing of Vader, that's not me, buddy. That's the Emperor. He's an Exegol. Why didn't he ever tell anybody?
Dude,
I just
don't even
like
get me started.
That's a whole new can of worms.
Because it's the sequels, that's why.
I'm not trying to compare the sequels here, but that always messed with me. I've always been every voice you've ever heard inside your head. And I'm like, why didn't Ghost Anakin say, hey, buddy, that ain't me. That's not me. I promise you that.
Well, okay, I think that's because Kylo was cut off. Right? I think when you're a Sith or in your dark side, you can't really talk to light side ghosts anymore.
Also,
Is
he
that-
wasn't aware
is that
of it.
canon?
That's that's just my theory.
He
That's-
knew Vader. He didn't know.
But then you
Anakin.
have that with was it Cade? When Luke was showing up and like trolling him the whole time. So
yeah, I'm not the biggest Cade fan, but
I just don't think they thought it through, is what I think. They didn't think it through when they were writing that. You know?
Yeah,
I've
it's
heard this.
that
I've heard
opens
this-
so many. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
You're fine. I've heard this theory that, like, you know, when Kylo is like in his quarters and he's like, I feel the pull to the light, like calling to his grandfather. I've heard that could potentially be Anakin trying to pull him back to the light. Like, people have talked about it, where when he's like asking Darth Vader or like his grandfather for guidance, it's actually the reason why he feels the pull to the light is because Anakin's trying to get to him. But
That's kind of
I
interesting.
don't know. That's what I've heard, but
well, they kind of retconned that themselves, I guess. with
I
Palpatine.
feel like the
I also
reason-
think there's a few. There's also because we also run into problems with like, well, Force Ghost Obi-Wan should have done way more. Like, he did not disappear for a few years, show up and be like, "Hey man, go to Dagobah."
Sure.
Like, I don't know, this stuff to me, it feels very baked into everything. So if you have the question, it's got to apply to all of it, and it's because I don't think the whole Force Ghost thing was initially fully fleshed out. I don't know that it truly is, but you also have, like, you know, Rey being unable to, and who knows, maybe Kylo Ren had the same issue where they were having trouble in communing with him. I think that could also be a thing, but yeah, if that becomes a problem, then like Qui-Gon should have been speaking to Yoda a lot sooner about Anakin, and then
But yeah, absolutely
Obi-Wan
should. We
should have
should
just
get up here
trained
and
Luke.
complain about all of it because it should be consistent.
That's why I like the original 6, man. I mean, like I said, the original 3, that's my childhood. Most of us probably. When the prequels came out, I was a teenager going into young adult. So they do have a lot of love with me as far as like that era of going to the movies. Because none of us in this room experienced 1977. But I've talked to people who are older who are like, dude, the hype is nothing compared to when I was in 77. They always have that, like, you know, that nostalgia. But look, speaking from somebody who was 15 when Phantom Menace came out, there was nothing more hyped up than Phantom Menace, dude. I cannot remember the hype.
I didn't know you were older than me, Danny.
Yeah, I remember trying to download the trailer, you know, using your little AOL.
Oh my god!
The trailer is like this big, and you're just like, oh,
it's like pixelated.
There was a lot of hype,
dude. I remember the lines that were up, like, just at the movie theater. It was such a
dude. They were epic. And a lot of costumes. It was like a.
It was the first time in my life I can remember there being cops at a movie premiere. Like, that's something that, you know, with future films like Avengers and Dark Knight Rises. But that was the first time I remember there being super long lines and, like, it's not cops, but security, armed security there because it was so packed.
Yeah.
Damn.
Insane.
It was a good time.
I'm jealous.
I remember leaving
like
the theater
3.
with Darth Maul. You were 3?
Not old enough to be conscious enough to go see the film.
I was
I'm
9.
so jealous.
I was
the
not
same
born
age
yet.
as Anakin.
What?
Yeah.
Look,
You were not
I'm
born
30.
yet?
Look,
I was
I'm
not born yet. I
37.
was born 2 years later.
I'm 37. I look 27, and I feel 17. So
There you go.
take that for what it's worth.
True.
Not gonna lie though, when Maul's second blade ignited, I felt like when the Ancient One knocked Doctor Strange out of his body, like that happened to me in the theater.
Yeah, it was awesome.
They ruined it in the trailer.
What?
It still
It was still epic.
You saw it, but like,
It was amazing.
yeah.
What are you talking about?
Okay.
No, I just mean like there was no like, oh my
wasn't a
god,
surprise.
like, you're expecting. I'm like the whole movie. I'm like, where's this double-bladed saber guy? Where does he show up?
Dude,
man?
man.
it was worth the wait for me.
It was fun.
It was amazing, dude.
You know, it's funny because that wasn't even the first double-bladed saber ever. The real I'm gonna get nerdy right now. We're gonna get nerdy. Why do
you think it's called Nerd Council?
Huh?
It's called Nerd Council.
Okay, good. The first time I've ever seen a double-bladed lightsaber is actually from a 1983, I think, tokusatsu show called Dimensional Warrior Spielvan, which was adapted. God, I sound like a virgin. It was adapted into Saban's VR Troopers, and he had a double-bladed lightsaber in the
What color?
80s before Phantom Menace came out. It's
color was it?
wild.
Who?
Yeah, who?
It was a show called, it was a Japanese show called Dimensional Warrior Spielvan, and it was adapted into Saban's VR Troopers in the 90s, which is like a Power Ranger spinoff. He took the Japanese footage, and one of the characters had a double-bladed lightsaber, and he would slice the monsters up.
But he wasn't. But I mean, it's not really a lightsaber. It's
it was a lightsaber.
Did it look like a lightsaber?
Bro, you want me to send you a picture of it?
Yes, I want you.
It's a lightsaber. I'm gonna pull it up right now.
So you're talking about like with
that was a laser sword.
Yeah, that was a laser sword for sure.
Yeah, that's not a lightsaber. That's a laser sword.
Yeah,
I know, man. Ryan Johnson did the same thing, bro. Ryan Johnson did the same thing. So
George is gonna find out about this. He's gonna be pissed.
I'll find it. Keep going. I'll look. Keep doing your thing. I don't want to interrupt.
So, what do you guys think? Just to try to take it back to Anakin. Like, do you guys think he is going to be beyond like a flashback? Do you think he's going to be communicating with Ahsoka as a Force ghost? Because that kind of
better be.
Yeah,
but that's a game changer, right? Like, that's wild.
I feel like, in Kenobi, I don't think there's going to be a lot of room for him, except in flashbacks, of course, to appear as Anakin. And I've been wondering about that this entire time with Hayden being cast, because if he's going to be in the suit the whole time, what's the point? What's the point? Like, I'm very excited for him to come back as Vader, but like, I think this is a really great opportunity. It would be a wasted opportunity if he's not a Force ghost communicating to Ahsoka. Why would they bring him back?
And also, Ahsoka just deserves that closure. Because the last time she saw Anakin, she was left in such a vulnerable state based off of how she last saw him and how she believed he ended up living the remainder of his life and dying. So she really deserves that closure to know what happened to him and to know he came back to the light, that he didn't die in agony, that he died at peace.
I agree with that.
Saying that
I agree with
that they're interacting. Is there anything that's saying that?
So in the article, it's weird because they don't really say that like that's a part of the scoop. They say that it's it's just weirdly worded. Like the trade writer wouldn't have
it doesn't say crap. It doesn't say anything. But
Rosario Dawson's tweet, they're saying something without saying it.
Don't you think?
What, that they're I mean, sure.
Rosario Dawson kind of
hey, Sky Guy, they know. See you soon.
I think it's gonna be a ghost. Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
I think if it's a ghost, that changes a lot to me. If he comes back as a ghost and then he's not there in 9, which I know, it doesn't exist, but it does. And so it's like wild to me that like I hope that it's more than just like, oh, dude, Anakin's dope, let's bring him back for all this stuff. Like, I hope there's something going on there. And Luke's around too. Like, Luke is around in this sort of Mandoverse. So like, are they going to have a conversation? It really sets up a lot of weird possibilities.
So the timeline.
What I'm hoping for.
Go ahead.
Is that good, Lauren?
I was just gonna say there are a lot of things that have kind of been brought into question just because of some of the continuity that has been established in the sequels. That's just a given now. That's just the reality that we live in now as Star Wars nerds with the current state of the canon. And at this point, I wouldn't be too mad if bringing Anakin in any way kind of makes you question it more. I'm still fine with him coming back.
They could also explain it. They could use him coming back to explain why he's not there and show some kind of.
It could. I'm just saying that based off of where I've ended up in my relationship to the sequels,
You haven't watched Mando. It's wild.
You know what?
Yeah, you gotta watch Mando if you want to watch Ahsoka. They're gonna direct.
So
do we know that
though?
Do we know that? One of the things that I'm kind of thinking though is that I would love it if we do get that him as a Force ghost talking to Ahsoka, and we get this prior to Ahsoka showing up in Mando. I want to see Ahsoka's episode of Mando is called The Jedi, right? Last time she talked to Vader, she said, "I'm no Jedi." And then after that portion, she found out that was Anakin under the suit. She's thinking this guy killed Anakin. And then find out that is Anakin. And when she is talking with Din about Grogu, when she's wearing her Silka beads again, I think that whatever happens, I hope she gets the closure, and I hope that brings her back to the Jedi, maybe in a different form. Maybe she doesn't join Luke's Jedi school because it's too painful for her, or because reminds her too much of Anakin.
That's all I want out of Anakin's return to Ahsoka, because based off of when she has that slight mentioning of him in the Mandalorian episode, where she says, "I've seen what this kind of attachment can do to people, to the best of us." That there's.
Hey, how do you know about that?
You have seen that scene.
No, I watched all the clips. Remember, I told you the day after each of these episodes were.
It's like watching a TikTok version of it.
Come on.
Hey, trust me, it's not boring. Yeah. It's not boring.
There's obviously such a trauma there, and there's such.
But if you've retained it,
pain there. So I've
if you've retained it, I think you got it.
I feel like you're really slicing hairs. This is some political stuff.
She's a purist, man. She's only seen
I've watched every frame of it, but just not put together as intended.
Yep, that's
I watched it backwards.
Look, you should start watching it because it's
like the
not
ship
boring.
Wait, do you have a Disney Plus account?
Yes, well, through my parents, because my family all has an account, a shared account.
What the heck is wrong with you? You weirdo.
So many things. Thank you for asking.
Have we seen the Force Ghost?
That's what we were gonna do a watch party for Midnight Mass, and we need to do a watch party for Mandalorian now. So
no, it's Midnight Mass. Midnight Mass are fun.
So you will watch Midnight Mass, but you won't watch Mandalorian with me? What the hell?
That's wild.
Yes.
I mean, do you think it's boring? Because it's not a boring show.
No, it's not because of that. It's not.
Just because she's petty to the max. She's like, where's the petty level?
I'm going to stand up for Lauren right here because I see some mean things in the chat, and I have hung out with Lauren outside of council here. And the fact that she has not watched Mando does not invalidate her Star Wars fandomness at all. And
no, if anything, she's more of a purist. She's more of a George Lucas fan.
The thing is that the reason why I don't watch Mandalorian is just because I don't want to get my heart broken, because I know where it's heading. I like a lot of what the sequels did as a fan disappointed me and upset me, just as a personal opinion. And so knowing how upset it made me to see the story go that direction, and knowing that the Mandalorian is at some point going to go in that direction and is going to eventually link up with that, I would just rather not get so attached to something that I know is ultimately going to break my heart and is ultimately going to make me upset. So I'd much rather just not engage with something. And
I celebrate you for the decision. If you don't want to support it and you choose not to support it, don't support it. Like, I highly respect.
And honestly,
with that thought process.
And honestly, and it's not anything against the show on its own, because I know the show is amazing. I know that it's doing great things for Star Wars and its story. And I respect everybody who loves the sequels, who loves The Mandalorian, so on and so forth. I just don't want to get my feelings hurt again. That's all. That's all.
Wait. Well, okay. I did not like the sequels, and I love The Mandalorian. You could watch The Mandalorian and
that's the thing, though. I know. No, I know I would love The Mandalorian. I know that, but I know that eventually it's going to link up and it's going to try to explain away the sequels. And for me, that's something that I just emotionally cannot go through.
Everything is going to do that, though.
Yeah,
everything that's coming is going
all roads lead to Rome,
and lead to the sequel.
All roads lead to Rome.
Allow me to change the mood like a fart in the room, because here's the thing: episode 10, 11, and 12 may also bring Anakin back. And what happens?
I'm not sure if I believe that that's going to happen.
Okay, but let's say, hypothetically speaking, when that happens, how will you feel?
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I probably follow the story like I followed all the other Mandalorian stories, which is how I've been able to retain that scene, because I still follow along even though I'm not watching it. But I mean, I just really don't see that happening. I really do not see that happening. So I can't even imagine a world where I would end up.
Does this mean you're not going to watch Kenobi, though? Like, are you going to watch Kenobi and Ahsoka? Okay.
Well, no, I did want to. Okay, it's going to link up to the sequel trilogy, but
everything is going to.
Obi-Wan Kenobi,
right? But I don't think
everything. Yeah, Kenobi actually
even these new. When you look at these,
but I don't
these
think
new novelizations that they have, they're explaining away everything going this way so that it can connect it this way.
Well, I just pay attention to the TV and the movies. So
yeah,
I just don't think it's going to connect as the way things are going now. I think there will be some connective tissue, but I don't think the story of the Mandalorian is necessarily going to tie into the First Order. I see some of it, yes, but I don't think it will. What?
It 100% will. It's already doing it.
You think so? Because I feel like he's going to go off on his own adventure.
No,
you've got the New Republic coming from the Mandalorian. Then anything after that,
right?
But remember what you have in the middle of that, and you have to recognize that they're going to show the birth of the First Order.
100%.
Yes, I think at some point they will.
So when I say connect, I don't necessarily mean that there's going to be like this one person that's in this show and then that's also in the sequel trilogy. I'm just saying that the timeline, everything is going to connect. There's no retcon on the way. From what I agree with, everything is going to go back to the sequels. That's what I mean when I say that. Is that
I thought you meant
there's no retcon coming.
No, I thought you meant like Baby Ray's going to be in one of the episodes or something like that. That's what I
kind of already see Snoke. You see some of the contingency already in season 2. Like that base is very clearly,
right.
There's 100% not going to be a retcon. That's just fact.
Thank you, because YouTube doesn't believe that.
Yeah,
I'm glad you said
what?
it.
It's so obvious it's not happening. It's so obvious.
When people were saying that they were going to retcon the sequel trilogy, bro, I asked Josh. I was screaming, "You are being lied to."
I was like, "Where is the evidence? Where is the evidence? I don't see it. If anything, everything new that we're getting is telling us the opposite."
I wish they would do that, but it's
and I still think you're getting more. I still think you're getting more, and I don't think it's the craziest idea in the world that Anakin. Let's just think about it this way: if they are going to do, just hypothetically speaking, if they are going to do episode 10, 11, and 12, and they're bringing Hayden back and doing a crap ton with Hayden, why wouldn't they, if they're going to try to close out and maybe try to make a better ending than what they've already done, why wouldn't they bring Anakin in? I mean, one of the main complaints about episode 9 is that there's no Anakin. It makes zero sense for him not to be there. So why would, you know what I mean?
I have 2 theories on that, but go ahead. I'll go whenever. Next.
I just feel like continuously trying to push forward through like 10, 11, 12, like because episode 9 didn't work. I just feel like it's a lost cause. Let's not try to I know.
You really think Disney's gonna just be like, no, you're right. We're not gonna continue that forward. Like, really? Do you think they're not gonna do that?
It's not that I don't think that they're going to. I mean, they're a corporation. Obviously, they're going to do whatever they think is going to make them money and is going to bring in an audience. So, like, I'm not saying that they're not going to. I just don't see I just don't see it as productive.
Nobody here sees it as productive, but it's going to happen. Like, I'm just telling you, I think it's going to happen.
Okay,
and I think Hayden.
Happen. I'm not.
And I think Hayden. I think Hayden coming back could actually, well, for sure he's getting a bag, but like
the job.
that could be a bold move. You know what I mean? Like, what if? Because we think about it, we already think they're doing stuff to sort of lead into it. I mean, the whole dyad retcon, all of it is to make more sense of 9 and the contingency and all that sort of stuff. So if they're bringing Hayden back and they're trying to use stuff to help their movies and like their Disney IP, why wouldn't they connect Anakin to whatever happens next? They could use, have him actually have that conversation with Ben. They could have him actually show up and talk to Rey and stuff like that. I mean,
there's a lot of things that they could do, and obviously, like, they could totally do them because there's going to be profit there no matter what. With a big name like Star Wars, they're going to make bucks. Like, there's no denying that. I'm just, in terms of, I like to think of things creatively and narratively more than business wise, because although business is a very big part of Hollywood, I tend to side more with creatives. So
same.
Creatively, I just don't I just don't really like the idea of that happening because narratively, I just don't think it's needed. I don't think it's necessary. It's something that they can do. And, you know, there's tons of entertainment out there that is great and is enjoyed by millions and is not necessarily necessary. So I'm not going to say, oh, hell no, they're absolutely not going to do this. But at the same time, I'm not going to be like, oh, we need this story.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Well, here's what you can do. You know, you could say, this is what I did. There's 6 Star Wars movies, and everything after that is just DLC. It's just DLC, right? In your head, the canon ends at Return of the Jedi, and that's it. And that's the best way to look at it. The Mandalorian, that's all DLC. That's all additional story. It's good. It's good DLC.
Yeah,
but
it's not.
like, okay, I won't take it too
it's not.
seriously.
Yeah, I'm not going to pass judgment on whether or not I think that it's good Star Wars or whatever, because that's for other people to decide, those who actually consume it. You know, at the end of the day, like, whatever we consume in these fandoms, it's all up to personal opinion and personal choice. So we should all just
really.
You know what?
I didn't know this.
Me neither.
Well, you know what?
But I know what she
Considering
means.
how I'm being treated, I wasn't sure.
No, I know. I get treated. We have the same. We share the same values, Lauren. I mean,
Well, I just want to say this to the chat. Like, I understand that we're all like hardcore Star Wars fans, but because she doesn't like the sequels, doesn't make her less of a fan, dude. I have friends of mine who have all kinds of Star Wars collectibles, helmets, who will not watch the Disney movies. They are OT purists to where they got Millennium Falcons, they got all the stuff from 1977 to 1983. Everything after that is just. Some people are like that. I mean,
and I also want to make it very clear that those who love the Disney movies, those who base most of their Star Wars fandom on the Disney movies, they are not any less Star Wars fans than the rest of us. They are just as valid, and they are very much Star Wars fans, 100%. So many of my friends.
I find with sequel fans, they don't really allow you to have an opinion other than the sequels is amazing. And I know, like, Chaco and Sawyer, like, you're not like that, but I just find online it seems like if you don't like a sequel fan, if you don't like the sequels, like, you're toxic, you're this and that, you're sexist, you're racist.
Yeah,
it's terrible. It's just as bad as the people saying that those who like the sequels aren't true Star Wars fans.
Yeah,
I think it's worse.
And when the company started saying it was bad too. Go ahead,
yeah, or even just allowing it to. Yeah.
That's why outside of this, I don't really engage in fan discussion or geek discussion, because I know it's going to get heated. I know somebody is going to get upset. You know, no matter what side you're on, it's just internet. The internet is not good for geek culture. I'm just gonna say it's not the best.
I think it's great for geek culture. I just
it's amazing.
People need to learn.
This kind of stuff is good. This
kind of
stuff
dialogue.
is good for geek culture, where we can have conversations and actually discuss in a sort of Socratic seminar. But I don't think things like Twitter are good for those kinds of
amen.
Twitter says
amen. Amen to that.
It can be
did I ever tell you my idea of how Disney can actually fix all this? There is a way they can fix all this. I'm gonna tell you what it is. I'm about to tell you what Disney can do that will make them a ton of money and actually satisfy the people who didn't like the sequel trilogy. Here's what they can do.
All right, let's see what Lauren says. I need to know.
So I noticed that most of the fans that did not like the sequel trilogy, a lot of them like the original EU post-Jedi stories, like Dark Empire, the Thrawn trilogy. So why don't Disney do this? Take a page out of what DC and Marvel do and do this.
Multiverse.
Not necessarily. That's one way. That's not what I was thinking. Carrie Fisher's gone. That's unfortunate. We can't reshoot episodes 7, 8, and 9 because they're not going to do that. Why don't they adapt the Thrawn and Dark Empire stories as an animated feature? Have an animated trilogy of those events. Have Mark Hamill voice Luke. Bring back all the actors that you can. Some of the Clone Wars actors. They all come back. They have somebody voice Leia because Carrie Fisher's gone, and release it as an animated series. You're gonna make and you tell the fans, look, you don't like the sequels, cool, they're canon. But if you want to have like a second canon in your own head, here you go. and then you
those
have
already exist, so they're not.
I think they already are. No, I think they're doing it with Mando.
Mando, yeah, they're gonna. I think that you're on to something there, Danny, because like it's more like instead of taking one dish away, it's like here's a dish. If you don't like that one, here's a dish too. It's like, oh, you don't like what Get Off My Lawn Luke Skywalker did 30 years down the line. Well, 15 years before that, he was slaying Thrawn and messing with Mara Jade or whatever. Some version of what happened there.
Okay, but like Lauren said, that's still canon. But if you tell the people, okay, yes, that's still canon, whatever. But if we have an animated series, like the Visions, like really good animation, you can then tell the fans, okay, look, you like the old EU? Here you go. Here's the old EU. Here's what you wanted. This is your alternate canon.
But
there's your other 7, 8, 9.
Exists.
But I feel
so
like it already exists in like book form, so you can still.
I know,
and they're re-releasing all of them.
In animated form in theaters, just
you just
hearing
for
the
visuals.
lightsabers, hearing the music, it hits different.
You're talking about for the visuals. I got
I think they have a good opportunity to do that with the Old Republic stuff and the stuff in the past that's the EU. It kind of seems like that's where they're moving forwards with stuff. Yeah. That won't necessarily fix the people who hate the sequel problem, but I do think they have a really great opportunity to, now that they've finished the Skywalker saga, to go back and work on that. I know Chaco's convinced that KOTOR's not going to be canon, but that's what I'm rooting for.
I think it's going to be canon.
Yeah, Josh and I are on that train because I think
and
that
I'm
opens
expecting
the
the diet
door.
too.
I think it's going to be canon too. I think that they're going to connect that to the High Republic. I think that's the bridge that they're making.
Yeah,
that's the reason why they have to remake it instead of remaster.
I think there's some evidence to suggest that too, just from like some of the things that they've tweeted. Like they weren't super clear about it. Like what's his face, Matt Martin was asked about it, and he was like super extra vague about it. So I don't know.
Maybe. I would like it to be brought to in, and also
if they do a dyad too, though.
Reference.
If they do a dyad in it, though, would you still be happy that it's?
Didn't we have this conversation?
By the way,
when actually that would bother me back then.
Huh? What? What's that? Huh?
By the way, theory.
If it was that far back, yeah.
Check your Twitter. I posted that picture of the double lightsaber from the 80s.
I don't check.
Shit.
He's forcing you to go to Twitter now.
I'm not.
You
put on my IG, man.
All right, look. I was real ready. I was real ready to say it's not a.
Okay, I'll send it to you on IG.
I'll give you my number. Yeah.
That's a lightsaber for sure.
I would like that, but check your IG.
All right.
Be wild. Yeah. Okay. All right, Danny.
Okay, that's a lightsaber, dude.
That's a lightsaber
for sure, dude. George Lucas is gonna be pissed.
Toei was very inspired by Star Wars, so they did their own. That's a lightsaber. Look at it.
Little side note: I've been finally getting into that Ronin novel. It is so good. It is incredible. I love what they're doing with the lore in that book. It's awesome.
Wait, which novel?
Ronin.
It's it's based off of the first episode of Visions with that Sith Hunter, bro. It is cool though. Like they're doing some stuff with like, there's a lot of like sort of fiefdom stuff in there, but there's also stuff with like this witch that's bringing Sith back to life. I mean, it's kind of a slight spoiler for it, but it's like it gets really wild.
Talking about Ronin.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Ronin.
It's good.
Like the Traveler is like now.
Dude, the Traveler's a great character. He's so cool.
Such a good character.
Yeah.
And also, one last thing about the animation idea I had, because some people are in the chat are saying, well, it's already Legends. Yes, you have to understand, hardcore Star Wars fans will read the books. Casual ones, they're not going to. But if you have a theater, if you have a TV show, Disney Plus, it's a lot easier to digest content if it's video/movie than it is a book. I wish people read more nowadays, but they really don't. Yeah. That's why I was saying, go ahead and just adapt it, and everybody's happy. So,
well, audiobooks, subscribe to Audible.
Dude, audiobooks are lit.
Audiobooks.
20th. I love Audible, man. You can.
20th anniversary edition of
Heir to the Empire.
Heir to the Empire.
Yeah, bro.
That Mark Thompson does.
Oh,
because no, at least the one I listened to wasn't. But I also listened to the original audiobook version of it, and it just wasn't the same. There was no music. The guy kept saying Coruscant, and like
that bothered me.
That's a good one, yeah.
Coruscant.
Coruscant.
Coruscant. Oh man.
Make it so.
From now on, it's Coruscant. It's everyone else that's been pronouncing it wrong. All the characters in the movies.
Yeah, Qui-Gon.
Hey,
what was the original name? Abaddon? What's the original name that Coruscant was going to be?
Yes, you did.
God damn it!
Yeah, what was it? It was like Abaddon.
Yeah.
Hab Abaddon or something.
He had a whole thing named for it, and then when what's his name, Steve Perry wrote his book, he named it Coruscant, and was like, oh, I guess we'll just go with that. That's cool.
Notron?
No, it was
Notron is what it was called before, like way in the past, before the humans and the Mandalorians evolved.
I'm not a lore master. I can't answer these questions. I just have Google.
Obi-Wan's planet of Stew John is stupid how George came up with that. Just like makes up random crap on the spot and just like, sure.
What? Yeah. John Stewart asked him. And he's like,
yeah, what the hell, man?
If Jon Stewart asks you to do something, you do it. That's the law. That's why it's Stew John.
All right.
If you asked him, he'd be like, it's Theratopia or something.
So if he asked you
I like it.
What if he asked you to watch Mandalorian?
Yeah, exactly. What if Jon Stewart was like, "You better watch Mandalorian"?
You gotta watch Mandalorian.
I'm gonna get Lauren to watch
I'll
Mandalorian. Just watch.
move to Europe so that I can avoid the law.
What if he tells you to write a thesis on 10 good things about Episode 9?
Yeah.
I haven't watched Episode 9, so
what? But you've seen all the parts of it.
Are you?
I stopped after Episode 8.
Okay, that makes sense.
Are you able to watch Snoop Dogg play?
Hell yeah! Who isn't? Come on now.
What?
Come
on. Oh, that one picture.
No, he's there.
No, that video.
There's a song. There's a video. Yeah.
E40. Oh,
I didn't know there was a video. I didn't know.
Oh, it's good.
Ice Cube returning, dude. Yeah.
A year ago, I actually rapped. I made a mall rap to that same song, and it's terrible.
What?
But Matt,
how'd you rap that same song?
Because it's the guy, the producer, Kato. He puts beats and then he'll put them on TikTok and ask people to duet them and stuff like that. So I did one, and then Matt Martin actually liked it today.
What? Really?
But I made it I made it in January.
Oh, it's so nice of you to offer us a free concert right now, Chaco. Thanks so much.
Yeah, you didn't tell us you're going to be doing this right now.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the lyrics. I'll send a link in the chat if you guys want to laugh.
I'm putting a link to the song right now in the private chat. There you go, Lauren.
Oh, for the Snoop song? Yeah, that shit was dope.
Oh.
Shit was dope. Yep.
Okay, I'll save it.
Did you guys watch Dune? Any of you?
Heck yeah.
I saw it last night.
Yeah, right?
I had a chance.
Yeah,
do it. It's so good.
Not surprised.
I kind of want to wait for the second one to come out.
Well, they
like
don't
the
actually have a
50th
plan
anniversary.
for the second
Who
one,
are you?
so I would not wait for the second one. They
No, I
do
think
not have
they're-
a production team. They
It could
do
be a
not.
while.
The
I think-
screenplay guy left, so
Really?
What? I didn't
Yeah.
know
Because I
about
thought that there was a whole thing that this first Dune is just like exposition and setup. And
Yeah,
that
it
we
is,
haven't
it
gotten
is.
to
but
the
they
plot
do
yet.
not have
Yeah.
the full crew they need to make a second one. There's no like
Yeah,
plan.
Sawyer,
I
you
read
see how
about
much
it today.
money? See how much money it made in the first weekend?
Oh no! There's
They're-
gonna be
they're-
a second one.
Oh,
but
I know,
They
but
don't
they're-
have like it's gonna take it. It'll be a minute
Oh,
before
they're
the
looking at that
fine.
money and they're going to
I'm
get
fine
on
if
that
it takes a
ASAP.
while. I'm fine if it takes a while. I just want to get to the plot, so I'll watch the exposition when we get to the plot.
It's good. You should watch it. I
I
need to
don't
see it
know.
again.
This
bad.
movie is like it covers like the first half of the book, and
First
it
book, yeah.
leaves off on a very
It's like when it starts.
Satisfying.
I thought it was
spot.
fantastic. I thought
Yeah.
it was so cool. If
It
you
was
like
amazing.
just good science fiction and just cinematography, it's very
Oh yeah, I've definitely
atmospheric.
heard about the
Yeah,
good.
it reminded me
cinematography.
very much of like 80s sci-fi film. Like Blade Runner is my favorite film of all
Mhm,
time. It gave-
Really?
Yes.
I mean,
Um,
that's
Give
an
me a high
interesting choice.
wait, me?
five.
Yeah.
Give me a high five.
I was like, why are you like
Like hitting your
on
head.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, and before anybody asks, the final cut, like the
Yes,
good one,
the
the
final
final
cut.
cut.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my favorite movie of all time, and it gave me very much like Blade Runner, like
so
that type
is
vibe.
Decker,
Have you ever
is he
seen
a
Ghost in
robot
the
or
Shell?
not?
Is Decker a robot?
Ghost in the Shell.
Is he a replicant or not?
You should see
good.
Ghost in the
It's
Shell.
your favorite movie? You don't have an opinion on whether he's a replicant or not?
I mean, after 2049, it's kind of hard to say. Like,
he's a replicant for sure.
I think so, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think
You should watch Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell is dope, dude.
Yeah.
It's like the anime version of Blade
Yo,
Runner.
what
It's
did you
very
think of the ScarJo? I've never asked you this, Danny. What do you think of the ScarJo one?
Never saw it. I am
What?
very.
Wouldn't
look,
see it.
I am
my
a
God.
very proponent of not watching any live action anime adaptations because 99% of them are straight
Except
garbage.
Evolution, of course, because that's
Oh, of course. Best movie ever, bro. Totally blow Star Wars away.
That's the first time. That's the first time I ever got my money back. I was like, I can't.
What? For real?
I can't.
I knew what it was when they put Goku in high school. I just knew where they were going.
Yo, but we
with
wouldn't
it.
have Battle of the Gods and all the resurgence without Evolution. It's weird. It's Zen. You
I
know
was
what I mean?
gonna make
So-
a video about that. You're right. That is what relit Toriyama's ass, bro.
Rurouni Kenshin live action. It's great.
Is it good?
Wait, was
Yeah.
it that? Sorry.
I liked it. I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't
Danny,
know if I've
that-
seen like a really good
That
Here's
live
Dragon
action
Ball movie
adaptation.
reinvigorated Toriyama's.
Oh, dude, yeah. Evolution
Yeah,
was
really?
so bad. That,
Long
yeah.
story short, here's what happened. So when they made Evolution, Toriyama, they interviewed him and he's like, "Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure, it's my story, but it's okay. They're gonna change it." They interviewed him a couple years later, and he was not happy, bro. And he rarely says anything negative because the Japanese like to make everything seem nice. He basically said that he felt insulted that they did not communicate with him. They didn't consult with him at all. Sounds familiar, right? Sounds familiar, Star Wars fans. They didn't consult with the original creator, didn't get any of his ideas, didn't talk to him, didn't adapt the story correctly. He felt it was insulting. So when Fox and Toei went back to do Battle of the Gods, the original scriptwriter was Yusuke Watanabe. Toriyama was not involved. Toriyama comes back and says, "No, I want to be involved in this." He comes and he changed the script around and makes it into a Battle of the Gods was now. So if it wasn't for Evolution kind of making him think, okay, I can't let them get away with this without me being involved. That's
Because he was kind of checked out at that point. Like he was
He
just
was,
cash
and
and
then
checked, man.
He was checked
Yeah.
out. They were going to do Battle of the Gods without him, completely
Mhm.
without him. And then he decided to put his foot, because in Japan it's different than how it is here because the creator has final say on everything. When Lucas sold Star Wars, it's not his anymore.
Well, he has say over it without even legal say over it, right? Because it's just like a respect thing where they wouldn't because of the culture. Yeah.
The way it works is Bird Studios has control over all the characters. They can make their own video games and movies and all that without him, but he can pull rank and say, "No, I want to be involved." And like you said, out of respect and out of preventing any problems, to say, "Okay,
This is a big deal for the Japanese audiences.
it's a big deal for them."
They
That's
tend
why they
to
put his
hear
name
more
on
of a-
everything. They
right.
put his name on everything now. Toriyama. It's like if Disney made a new Star Wars, said Lucas. Like they want you to know he's involved again.
They do that on the
they
Mandalorian
learned.
a little more now.
So that's the short story of what happened. Only because you asked.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool.
It's
It
interesting.
actually lit a fire under his ass for him to come back because he
Yeah.
did check out. I was like, "What? Are we not getting any more Dragon Ball?" And then
No, he
all of a
checked
sudden,
out for years.
boom.
For years,
He
he
was
checked.
checked out
man.
on GT, bro. He was. I mean, he did some designs, Danny, but he wasn't really.
He designed it and was involved in the early creative process, but then he checked out because he was burnt out. It wasn't because he had a problem with it. It was just he had been writing consistent stories from 1979 to 1995, and he was just done.
Yeah.
Like his mind was burnt, and so he gave up on it until 2000, really 2008. Wrote a short story, Yo Son Goku, and then 2013 for Battle of God. So yeah,
Sweet. That's sweet.
it happens, man. People
Mhm.
get burnt out.
For sure.
When you're writing a new story every week, remember he was writing weekly stories.
And sometimes late in the week, right? He would just like do it like because he's a procrastinator, right? So he would just like chill and then be like, "Oh fuck," and then like
he would literally not work on the next chapter until 3 days before publication, bro. That's
wild,
who
bro.
he is, bro.
Yeah,
And that burnout's pretty common in anime,
Mm-hmm.
like for long running series.
Yeah,
who's the
that's
fairy
why,
tale guy, Danny?
directors
Because
take
somebody
breaks.
was making a point in one of my chats, like last week or something, that the guy who makes Fairy Tail, like he's like the exact opposite of that. In that
Yeah,
he
he
said
eats
he'll
it up.
never. He said he'll never stop making Fairy Tail, right? He's like, I'll literally never stop doing this.
Yeah, but dude, people change, and in time, you might eventually just say, "Okay, I need a break." You know,
right?
But that is true about that guy, right? That's what he. That's
what he said. And there is a lot of fairy tale.
Right.
Interesting. I wonder if that like inspired George. Did you know that his stocks are now worth over 10 billion? So people are like, "Oh, he bought it for 4 billion." It's like, nah, his stocks alone are worth over 10 billion now.
Yeah, he got like high quality shares or something like that.
Yeah, 45% in shares, I think.
Preferred.
And I talked about this too, because when there was that rumor about him coming back and doing episode 9 and all that, that BS, I knew that was BS because A, he's super wealthy, and B, if you know anything about George Lucas, I did a report on him when I was in middle school. I know a lot about this man. He's very against the Hollywood system. Hollywood has never treated him right, bro.
No.
Even up until Red Wings, when he was producing Red Wings, they wouldn't even fund it. He had to fund it with his own money.
Yeah.
So the idea of George Lucas coming back and working under Disney, never, bro. It's never gonna happen because he's like, I respect the man because he's a legitimate entrepreneur. He did everything on his own. I mean, he had help, but he never really works with the studio system. I mean, how many studios rejected Star Wars before he finally got to 20th Century Fox? It was like 4 of them, right?
And you know what?
People lost their jobs for vouching for George Lucas for Star Wars. Yeah.
Even when they were making it, they wanted to pull the plug.
With Fox to fund the first one, he didn't pay himself $500,000, but he retained rights to be able to sell merchandise and sell toys and all this and that, which is what funded episode 5 and 6. And if he didn't do that and gave Fox the rights and gave himself the $500,000 director fee or whatever, things wouldn't be the same. He wouldn't be sent, and probably we wouldn't have Ewoks because he knew that Ewoks are going to be a big sell, and those are going to help fund the prequels. So it's like people give Ewoks a hard time, but if he didn't have those merch ideas and those different like toys and all,
he was smart at so many levels.
We would have a Splinter of the Mind's Eye movie.
Right, for sure.
Probably,
he was like, no.
That's what he was gonna do. That was his low budget follow up to Star Wars.
It's funny you mentioned Splinter of the Mind's Eye because whenever anybody gets a chance, go back and watch A New Hope and try to watch it different this time. Watch it with no context of the prequels or even 5 and 6. Just watch Star Wars, the original Star Wars, preferably the original cut. It's very different. If you look at it objectively for what it is, it's a different movie. Again, try to, in your brain, erase Empire and Jedi and then the prequels. And it is a different movie because Anakin, obviously the original explanation was that Vader betrayed and murdered Anakin. So when you watch the movie like that, like Luke shooting Vader, he's shooting the guy who, it was actually Han who shot him, shooting the guy who killed him. There's a different connection there. It's very interesting when you watch the film, ignoring everything else, because it does feel different. Like it feels like it's a self-contained story. Like it could have ended right there.
Yeah,
of course
for sure.
It didn't, thankfully, but it's interesting when you watch like that. Leia not being his sister when they kiss, that's very interesting. It's like a different. You would almost think like Luke was gonna get with Leia. You would almost think that,
Yeah.
I feel like everyone thought that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought that for sure.
I have yet to see a cosplay at a con of Luke and Leia making out.
Hey, I'll tell you what, though.
I don't want it.
You don't need that Lannister business.
We don't need that in the fandom. We don't need that.
I was talking to my friend about it the other night, and I'm just like, because she dresses up as Leia, and I'm like, you know what? I've never seen that's weird.
Bro, next time you watch Return of the Jedi,
they're not
pay
related.
Pay attention to Mark Hamill's acting. When Obi-Wan tells him that Leia is your sister, he has this look on his face where he's looking down, and I'm thinking to myself, you were fantasizing about your own sister. That's what he was doing. That guilt, like, what have I been doing this whole time? Again, bro. Mark Hamill's a genius, I'm telling you.
Oh, God.
I'm telling you it's happening.
I still think the best reaction in all of Star Wars is Yoda after Luke is like, is it true that he's my father? And Yoda's like, oh, shit.
He just rolls over, doesn't he? He just rolls over.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, he's like, I'm about to die.
I'm gonna die now. Deuces.
I thought the best reaction was Snow, bro.
Explain this to you. No, I said Yoda was like, it would be so much easier for me to die than to explain this to you.
Yeah, literally.
Yo, do y'all want to know something real wild? So this broke like an hour and a half ago. There were reports that Andy Serkis is going to be in Andor.
Yeah, I heard that. I didn't think it was real though.
Now some people are saying
Andy Serkis could be in everything.
For sure.
Andy Serkis is most likely going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know.
Wait, about Andy Serkis?
Do you know inside information?
No, it's because of the post-credit scene of Venom.
Wait, what about?
It's been a minute, so
but he doesn't voice him. He doesn't voice Venom though. Tom Hardy does.
I thought he voices Venom.
No, Tom Hardy.
He directed the Venom movie. He directed
the second one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind then. Never mind. My bad.
No,
yeah, but I mean, so people are saying he's probably just going to be a human prisoner, but of course, could be Snoke.
But Snoke didn't exist at that point.
There were a bunch of Snokes.
There was a lot of Snoke.
Well,
there's a bunch of pickle jars with Snoke.
That's the question. Was there actually a man named Snoke that Palpatine got the genes from?
For sure.
We assume that.
Well, no, it's in that new book that Theory keeps making everybody mad about when he talks about it. It's like what he's talking about.
Really?
Just like to jump. I don't read the
because anymore, bro. So I don't know what.
The
High Republic turned me off.
Theory just here.
Yeah. It's all good.
Okay, so in the book, they reveal he's actually was a man or something like that.
Well, no, they just revealed that like he's a real person that has force propensity, and he says something to the effect of like his ability in the dark side will make him a useful puppet. So basically saying that like he is a person. I think they're trying to clone him to possibly create a vessel or something, but that's not fully explained. We don't fully understand what that is.
But the one that Kylo killed, that was a clone. That wasn't the original one that you're referring to.
So it's kind of hard to say, right? Like it could be force. It could be like the essence transferred into a cloned like body. We don't really know. Like they can do a lot of weird
He explains
stuff.
it in that book. I just haven't covered it yet. So he says essentially that Snoke couldn't use the Force, but he was able to use him as a puppet.
What?
Yeah,
so that tells me that tells me they're going to take his body and probably take cells from it along with Grogu cells and then somehow create this other story.
The way I understood it was like there's like a good
was...
dyad between. They didn't say that, but like essentially there's a dyad between Palpatine and Snoke, and then they can like.
So he's like giving him power, like Galactus.
There's always a dyad now. But everyone's a dyad.
There's always a dyad. Yeah.
But Snoke can't actually use the Force, really. Like,
so what's up with the druid version of him then? When he's like on that planet growing all the trees or whatever, he's got like a tree hat on.
Yeah, dude. I don't know.
But is that like
up as they go along?
Well, yeah, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, is that maybe what we're gonna see in Andor? You know what I mean? Don't tell Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren's not gonna watch him anyways. No, we're gonna. Yeah,
no, I'm gonna. I did have plans to watch Andor.
Oh.
Same as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, there's okay.
Cool. And I watched The Bad Batch. I feel like this just proves you guys only listen to half of what I say.
What about Book of Boba?
I listen, and
we're men.
Thank you, Chaco.
Yeah, sorry. I'll do better.
What do you expect?
Yeah,
but I'd love to see Andy Serkis play a droid or something like that.
Yeah. Somebody's saying he's definitely gonna be a human though. But I mean, a droid, he could do anything, like you said. He's incredible, bro. He's dude. He's so good. I was just recently watching stuff. Age of Ultron. He is good in Age of Ultron as Claw. Like that.
You've seen Planet of the Apes, right? The
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god,
absolutely.
Career performance.
Yeah.
And honestly, I enjoyed him in Last Jedi. Like his scenes were all amazing. I wanted more of that character.
100%. That's what's wild is like he's so good in that because you don't know anything about him in the first one. He's like really just ominous.
He's terrifying too with the height, like you know.
Yeah. Well, no, that imagery was really, really cool, but we literally know like nothing about him. And then, like in Jedi, dude, when he blasts Kylo Ren by just hitting it off the floor, I was like, this dude, like, this is cool.
When he took the lightsaber with his finger and went like this and flipped it back.
Oh, yeah, bro. Yeah, it was awesome. Dude. And then he just gets.
And remember, he dies like a Saturday morning villain too. Like he's such a Saturday morning cartoon. He's not gonna betray me. He's not on your side. I can see him turning like a literally like a Scooby-Doo villain. He ends up getting killed, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a shame.
I wonder what JJ was gonna do with him if he didn't kill him.
Yeah, that's a great question. I wonder if we'll ever know.
He probably doesn't even know, bro. You know what? I got some crap the other day because I said that I like Force Awakens, and I'll be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of still like Force Awakens.
I like Force Awakens.
I do like Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I actually really like that movie, and it set things up well. It's just the payoff kind of made it worse than it actually was. But when I saw that movie, I saw it 3 times in theaters. I love it. I mean, I still like it. I
I saw that thing like 5 times in theaters. I
just liked it, and then it grew on me, and I'm like, okay.
It's just hard for me to really get into it nowadays, kind of knowing where it goes. I feel like
bingo. Thank you.
That's just stuff. But it's a great movie, and it has a lot of wonder and awe, and they did a lot of stuff right. Like, dude, the whole thing with the Falcon and Rey and Finn, dude, that sequence is amazing. I remember seeing that in theaters and just being like, oh.
And the whole opening sequence with Kylo Ren and what's his name from The Exorcist?
Yeah, where he just
yeah,
dude, we just catches that blaster bolt like, whew.
And you're like,
dude,
what is that? I don't remember that.
I walked out of that movie theater floating. I was floating, and then after Last Jedi, I walked out of the movie theater pissed, and I remember thinking to myself, the first thing I thought of was how all the critics had said it was this amazing, bold film.
Chills.
And I'm like,
well, they also gave Ryan a whole trilogy, right? Like right before the movie comes out, they're like, "Oh, by the way, this dude's doing a whole trilogy." And how can you not think that's an incredible sign? You're like, "Wait, what?" Like, yeah, for sure.
I mean, it is my favorite Star Wars movie, but
The Last Jedi is your favorite Star Wars movie of all time?
Speak on it, Chaco. Tell us why.
Some people have said that though.
It's for me.
Why?
I mean, to be honest, between Last Jedi and Empire, it does kind of go back and forth. But that and Return of the Jedi are my top 3.
Okay, I agree with you there. I mean, I think if they had done Luke differently, I think Last Jedi would be perceived better. I think the problem, for me at least, was Luke. Luke was the major problem for that film. Everything else, like even the connection with Rey and Kylo, that was creative. The Casino Planet was boring and all that stuff, in my opinion. But to me, what they did with Luke, because that's my favorite character, and maybe I'm being a fanboy, but I've looked at the film objectively and tried to disconnect that. There are problems with it, but I think that is what I think hurt a lot of people, because Luke is a 40-year-old character at that point. You have generations of people who grew up with this guy. So what they did with him, was it ballsy? Maybe, but I think it was a mischaracterization of what people wanted. And I feel like with a mainstream series like Star Wars, you kind of have to look at the fans, not just create your own, but also see what they want and kind of try to merge that together. It ain't like you're making an indie film, you know?
Right, for sure. Or making the first batch of them. You know what I mean? Like, it's established stuff. So
yeah.
I just remember when I hated it when I first saw it, and I thought I was the only one. I thought I was going to be the only person who disliked the movie, and then this huge
I remember your stream with Dash, bro, where I didn't even necessarily agree with everything you guys said, but I remember it was literally one of the first times where I heard people just really, really dislike it. And at the time, like, I was pretty conflicted about it, but like I ended up going the other way. Like I kind of like bounced back and forth and then ended up liking it for a while and then kind of coming around to the flaws later on.
Oh, brother, listen.
But I remember that stream. That was epic, dude. You guys were going in. That stream was so hard. Dash was like, I'm done with Star Wars. Like he was
no, here's what happened. Here's the behind the scenes on that. I came home from Last Jedi that night, and I called Dash on Facebook, and we talked. And I'm like, did you really like this? And so I'm talking to him more and more, and he's telling me what he liked, and I'm kind of deflecting his point. I'm saying, yeah, but what about this? What about this? And then by the end of the conversation, he was like, oh, my God, you're right. This movie's terrible. And then he realized when he made his positive review, he's like, he told me, he admitted all this. He's like, I was lying to myself. A lot of people did, though. A lot of people did. A lot of people did that. And look, I'm not putting myself over, but before The Phantom Menace, I was one of the first ones on this platform to trash that movie. Not because I hate Rian Johnson or anything political, nothing to do with the politics, because I felt like what they did with Luke and with the characters and a lot of other things I thought were very unfulfilled. There were problems. But I remember that night because Dash, we talked for like 4 hours and he's in Australia. Right. And I was just like, and I tried. I watched that movie like 6 times trying to like it. And there are things I like about it. There are things I do like about it. Don't get me wrong. But it just, it hurt. It actually hurt. It was like the Scarface shooting Manolo, man. They hurt me to have to say that. Mm-hmm. It hurt. So,
no, I got out the theater, cool. And I was just like sitting there and I was like, what the hell just happened? And they were like cleaning up the popcorn and stuff. And I'm just trying to understand what the hell went wrong. And I was like, how did this, or how the hell, how am I even going to make sense of this? So then I went home.
I didn't even know. I didn't know how they could have come back for a 9th one. If it felt so like, you know.
Neither did they. That's the thing. Neither did they. They were like, what? How do we?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to trash the movie here because, you know, that's not what we're here to talk about. But it's just, I have very.
You're not trashing it if you have opinions, man.
No, you're being totally fair and stuff on it. I mean, overall, the sequels are my least favorite trilogy. I just really love Episode 8. 7 is middle of the road to me. 9 is my least favorite Star Wars anything.
Yeah, that's got to be an interesting vibe then, because you're kind of like.
Well, some of my closest friends love that film, and I'm not going to stop being friends with you if you like a movie that I dislike. Mm-hmm. That's something the internet has to learn here. We can still be cool even if you like the film. And I have friends of mine who say it's the best Star Wars film, objectively, and I understand why.
Probably the best looking one.
Yeah, my buddy says that right here. Where is he?
Yeah, I mean there are some right there. I mean, there are objective things about it. Like, it does look great, and the acting is phenomenal. I mean, you can't deny that. If you deny that, you're a hater. But I don't know, man. I think Johnson should have thought a little bit more before delivering. He should have thought a bit more about what the fans wanted. Not to say you have to always listen to them, but when you're dealing, remember, even Mark Hamill complained. It's like, dude, okay, we get it. You're the director, the writer, but this is Luke Skywalker for 40 years. You should listen to what he has to say. And he disagreed with him. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know.
I agree. I don't think you have to listen to the fans. I think that usually can lead you into like a rough storytelling spot. But you just have to listen.
Lucas wouldn't listen to the fans.
No, but I mean, like, not fully, but like,
at all.
Listen. What I mean is, like, keep the integrity of the characters. If you're going to deconstruct Luke Skywalker, which is what that film did, it's a deconstruction of Luke Skywalker's character. You have to make sure that this deconstruction is actually coincides with the Luke Skywalker that we knew, to where it makes sense. And there are aspects of it that does make sense, but it's hard for us to believe that Luke Skywalker would not only. The whole thing about killing his nephew, okay, it was a momentary lapse of judgment. We all have that in real life. My problem was the fact that he ran away knowing that Snoke was out there with Kylo Ren. You are endangering the galaxy and your sister?
Right.
That's just not Luke. Him almost killing Kylo, okay, we make mistakes. It's dumb, but whatever. Him running away, that's where I was like, dude,
Danny,
at least try to redeem the guy like you did your father.
I think
something they could do. I don't think anything for me would fix it, but make a little more sense as to why Luke ran away, because that's the most like un-Luke thing you could do.
Agreed.
Is if he was dodging the galaxy for so many years because they were trying to get his blood to clone him, and they were super close, and he knew this, and he's like, if they get a sample of my skin or my hair or my blood, then that's it. The galaxy is over. They're going to make the
What
most
about his
evil...
hand?
What about Anakin and Ahsoka? That's Sabayoth.
There goes that theory. Yep.
I'm just saying.
No, I mean, that's like what you're saying. Though is literally what Rian Johnson said, because he said, you know, I was given this movie off of what JJ said, which was that Luke was in hiding and he'd been gone from the galaxy for a long time. He had Jedi school, and one of his kids ruined it. Right? That's all JJ stuff.
Yep.
And so Rian Johnson said, Luke Skywalker wouldn't just run out of cowardice or fear. So I had to figure out why he's here. And the reason I came up with is he's seen what the Jedi organization has done in the past. And he saw how he saw their failures. He tried to create a new one, and it ran into the same failure. And at that point in time, he wasn't running out of fear. This was actually him taking on a role and saying, the light needs to rise from another source, from a more worthy source. I think the Jedi are the problem, or are part of the problem of this, and we're just continuing the cycle.
Right, it's like a Zen thing.
He took
it's
himself
like,
out here.
You can't push it without a retraction.
The issue, though, that I have with that is the fact that it does kind of negate the sort of finale that George had originally set up in Return of the Jedi. Because whether or not you consider Return of the Jedi a finale, like it doesn't matter if you consider it a finale or not. It's set up to make Luke's, starting of this new Jedi way, in terms of not going so strictly with the no attachment sort of thing, and not strictly with the laws of the original order, as a sort of triumphant new beginning. And so it's really hard for me to then kind of marry that with where the story ended up going. That's just very difficult for me.
And that's okay. For me, it makes sense if he saw and researched what they had done, where they had gone wrong, and he tried something new. I'm not going to go down their path. I'm not going to make their mistake. And it still happens.
But it didn't. That's the thing. The only person that sort of went that route, and for no apparent reason, they've tried to sort of explain it away in the comics, but Kylo Ren's turn or his journey is on. There's no reason. There's no real reason behind why he would turn to the dark as he did. And that's why I thought it would have been a great story if he were he was taking on that sort of Jason Solo role, and Rey was the Skywalker, because now you've got the cousins battling each other. You know what I mean? Like that just made it
family drama.
Exactly. It made more sense. So
I mean, you're talking to someone who Jaina is my favorite.
I know, brother. I know. I'm just saying, like, from my perspective, I couldn't swallow that pause, because it just didn't do enough for me, because the only person that sort of went left was Kylo. They bring up his other Padawans in these comics lightly, not and they're all on the path.
Isn't it sort of implied in 9 that like that Palpatine was doing that to try to eliminate Skywalker, that the whole idea was to try to use Ben to get Luke to quit? Like, I mean, I know that's convenient retconning, but like, isn't that sort of the idea?
Very convenient.
But even through the comics, they explain it that it's not even Kylo's not the cause of that destruction, and not even Snoke is not even the cause of that destruction.
I didn't like that.
It was Palpatine himself.
Yeah, I didn't make that.
But the whole "I was every voice inside your head" and stuff like that, like, I don't know. I kind of felt like it was sort of implied that he was the whole, because in the novelization, I think, to The Last Jedi, Luke was not even going to do an academy at all. He had no plans to do it, and he starts it because of Ben, right? Because Ben is lost. Leia seeks Luke's help to help her lost son, but he's lost from birth because he's being manipulated by Palpatine inside the womb. You know what I mean? So like,
but they've changed that now.
Have they?
With Mandalorian season 2, Luke is going around the galaxy trying to find Jedi.
Right.
But we don't see him establishing an order. He's not gonna...
Ben's already alive.
Well, what's he doing?
Yeah, Ben's already around by then.
That's true.
Ben's what?
But they don't do that, I think, until
he's
young. Yeah, but it's not until I think he's 7 that they send him to go train. Leia sends him to go train.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, bro.
3 years.
Don't even try.
They just keep changing it.
What are we doing here then?
Well, no. I know. I'm just saying that notice how the more you think about it, the more it's like, well, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's because they didn't have a plan, because they were just changing stuff, and like one writer comes in, the next one. The thing that was most confusing or strange to me was like not the most, but how Palpatine destroyed the Jedi Order, Jedi Temple, by shooting Force lightning
across the galaxy. If he's that strong
and blows up the temple, what? Like,
yeah, it's pretty wild. No?
You have the Hammer of Dawn literally like anywhere you want in the galaxy at any time. It's
pretty wild.
What, dude?
No,
like,
dude, he could have
incinerates
killed
the
everybody.
Jedi
Then.
Temple.
Exactly.
killed
Why
everybody.
didn't he just strike Luke?
Yeah, he could have just.
Yeah,
Why didn't he
right.
strike Luke? Why didn't he kill Luke and Leia and Rey and
the
everybody
rebellion
else?
and everybody, man. You're just like, that's it, done.
I can't believe somebody in that room wasn't like, no, you can't write this. Come up with something better. I don't think they're Star Wars fans, to be honest. You know what, bro? I'm just gonna say this, and this is an unquestionable truth. I cannot remember in the history of cinema, legit, ever a movie splitting a fan base like Last Jedi did. Ever. Like, I'm thinking of a Batman movie, Superman, Alien, Star Trek. I've thought
there's
about
no
this.
fandom as big as Star Wars on this planet.
I know, but I mean,
honestly, I feel like
Josh.
the Phantom Menace.
Josh, there's no
Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace
split it pretty hard.
Josh, would you say Star Wars is bigger than Marvel?
Is a
not now, but it used to be.
There's more casual fans of Marvel than there is of Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably say
diehard fans. Like if you were to take the juice, the essence of fans, the stink, which one stinks more, Marvel fans or Star Wars? Which one is
flipped? Dude, it's straight
more
flipped.
potency.
I feel like it's straight flipped. I would say before Avengers. So. Yeah, I would say before the Avengers movie, maybe Star Wars, but then Avengers goes like Marvel goes crazy, right?
Yeah, Marvel blew up.
And then Star Wars does what it does, and I feel like it literally has flipped now. You know?
Yeah, they went like this.
I would agree with that. But additionally, Marvel has so much content in facets and like different universes that you could read stuff. And because there's so much stuff, there's a lot less like conflict, it seems like, because people are just like, oh yeah, it's happening in this universe. Cool.
Well, plus like it's inherent to comics, like retconning is inherent to comics, like characters dying and coming back is inherent to comics. Like there's this level of like, I don't know, you don't take it as seriously almost, you know?
There's a retcon that has happened in the MCU that made me go a little it was how in the Winter Soldier, I think Nick Fury says, I lost my eye because of the last time I trusted somebody.
Oh, that's one of my least favorite things in the MCU is Goose.
And then, like, weird. And then Goose.
Bruh.
Like,
that's a very,
did he trust Goose not to scratch him?
That's one of the worst things they've done in the MCU. And they've done a few.
My belief to do that.
Yeah. But then you just believe as a fan that there's an actual Nick Fury that was a badass that lost his eye somewhere out there in the multiverse, and it helps you sleep at night.
True.
Just read Original Sin.
Dude, Original Sin is great. Yo, I have a hardcover of that shit. That is a great story where he's just chilling with the eyes. At one point, he just got the eyes and just hanging out.
Is Original Sin is that one of the comic books that features Cynthia Schmidt?
No. So Original Sin was this story where the Watcher dies and somebody takes his eyes, and it's like a murder mystery where all these Marvel characters are trying to figure out who killed the Watcher and stole his eyeballs because they have like all this crazy power. It's also the book in which Thor becomes unworthy, and Nick Fury is such a badass that he like whispers some shit in Thor's ear and literally makes him unworthy, and Mjolnir's just stuck on the moon. It was like crazy. Like Nick Fury basically was like, "Oh, you thought I was like Nick Fury?"
Nick Fury fought the Avengers.
Dude, he went hard. Like that shit was wild. Yeah, that shit was wild. That's a great book.
I know this is way off topic, but I'm curious what people think of that new poster for Miss Marvel, where
I didn't see it.
Why you do this? Why you do this? I mean, look, I'm not a hardcore Miss Marvel fan, so I don't really like particularly care that they're changing her powers like that. What I care about is them not making her an Inhuman. Like, why are they trying to erase?
Because the freaking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. being like,
but it's not canon. But yeah, but that's fine. That's okay. I don't like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I like Inhumans.
How dare you?
What? You will watch Mando and you like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I watched all 7 seasons. I love it so much.
Once again, you proved, if you'll excuse me.
Oh, no.
I swear to God, they need to bring back Chloe Bennett as Daisy Johnson. If they don't do that, I'm going to be very upset because she was amazing as Daisy Johnson.
She was good.
I feel like they're doing
also, it just gave me more Coulson. I love Coulson.
Exactly what Marvel did to the mutants with the Inhumans,
right?
It just got
like
inverse.
They were like,
I am a big Miss Marvel fan.
Okay, cool.
Her powers are very tied into her finding her place in her
right,
identity
because she
and all
like
this
turns
stuff.
into this atypical like white woman. She like first becomes like a Carol, right? She like idolizes Carol, and then she thinks of that, and then there's this like identity crisis thing happening where she like realizes her own kind of identity and beauty. And yeah. I actually thought that was one of the most compelling things that G. Willow Wilson did with that character.
Agreed. And her powers are way more than just stretching. It's
I don't know, bro. Like for me, the only way I could have got into that show was if we had like a new Black Bolt or like a new royal family with the Inhumans. And now I'm like, what is going on? She's a G? Like what?
Sorry to derail. I apologize.
It would be great even if they didn't like recanonize Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if they just brought in like some of the characters that were introduced in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. into like the movies and like now canon TV shows. Like they wouldn't have to have the same backstory, just as long as they were like the same general characters with the same actors. I'd be very happy.
I think that's what they're gonna do with the Netflix shows, because like they're not gonna do a direct tie-in to them, but those characters will all be back and have pre-established relationships, which can technically be built off what you establish in that.
I was very sad. I was really sad when the rumor was proven false that Daisy Johnson, played by Chloe Bennett, was going to be in Secret Invasion, because there was a rumor that was happening, and then it was proven wrong, and I got very upset.
Yeah, that one was weird because she went hard too about sort of saying that's not real. Like she did a weird Instagram video where she was like, Marvel fans are coming up to me in the grocery store and like bothering me about this, so like stop, it's not happening. And I was like, oh man, I'm sorry about that, Chloe.
Yeah.
Shall we read some soupies?
Soup it up.
What's up, Theory and Josh? Do you think there's still going to be a young Kylo Ren Ben Solo TV show or mini series? I would certainly hope so.
Yeah, I think
loves
so.
y'all's content. P.S. If Nerd Council needs a Dune guy, I will volunteer. Dune excites me the same way Star Wars excites Theory. What do you think would be a better appearance for Anakin in the Ahsoka show? A flashback or a Force ghost?
Force
Ghost.
Why not?
Force Ghost.
Both.
Yeah, both.
Obi-Wan Kenobi is the place for flashbacks.
Anything.
Ahsoka is for Force Ghost.
The Force Ghost is gonna be wild, dude. If they do that, I'm gonna lose it. That's nuts.
Well, yeah, I think she's gonna be talking with Luke, and he's gonna open her up on how to like.
One of the reasons as to why we didn't, now I could be wrong, why we didn't see Force Ghost Anakin in episode 9, again, I could be wrong, is maybe because of the fact that I know George went back and made changes to the original trilogy, and in the original cut, Sebastian Stan was the ghost at the end of the film.
Sebastian
Stan? Isn't that his name? Sebastian?
No.
Sebastian Shaw.
Sebastian Shaw. I'm sorry.
I don't think he was
Winter
Soldier.
Sebastian Stan is the Winter Soldier.
That would be amazing.
Alive?
If Bucky's like,
sorry,
it's like a baby.
Like in '82, he just shows up.
You mentioned Winter Soldier, and I was my bad. Yeah, Sebastian Shaw, and then it became Hayden Christensen. But if you see the ghost of Obi-Wan, it's Sir Alec Guinness, and then so if Obi-Wan were to come back as a ghost, in theory, it would look like Alec Guinness, not like
No, they changed that though, didn't they?
Huh?
Or did they ever replace? No, they replaced Anakin. Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's probably why we didn't see the ghost of Obi-Wan, because they wanted to make it fit, and maybe with the ghost of Anakin, they were like, well, there's 2 cuts. Let's not convolute things.
Dude, you know what I heard, which is so wild? Yeah, go ahead, Chaco. What? Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think they explained that away in from a certain point of view, A New Hope. Yeah, Claudia Gray has the short story, Master and Apprentice, where Qui-Gon appears to Obi-Wan right before the events of A New Hope.
Yeah, okay.
And he knows, but it's from Qui-Gon's perspective. So it starts with him like ethereal in the living force, and then finding his form and reshaping himself and reshaping his body from memory. And so it would make sense that Obi-Wan, who has been a Jedi this whole time, if he reshapes himself from memory, it's going to be how he looked. But if Anakin doesn't, if he's pulling himself from memory, like I remember being little, seeing Sebastian Shaw and being like, "Who is that?"
Right? Who is that guy?
but like if he is reshaping himself from memory, the last time he's truly seen himself as a Jedi was as Anakin.
But remember,
I like that.
But remember, Obi-Wan was Alec Guinness, so if they were to bring back Force Ghost Obi-Wan, it would have to be look like Alec Guinness at least. You know, so it's like I like what you're talking about, how they can kind of make what they look like. But does that mean they can change it? Does that mean that if Obi-Wan were to come back as a ghost, he could look like young or old, whatever he wants? Did they say that?
I don't know. Maybe he could morph into anyone and look like Mace Windu.
That somebody should like Padme and you know, really
like mess with him. Yeah, pop up.
Yeah, really mess him up.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Where was I? Jaina Solo fell is better than Rey. Wish we got her book series.
The Sword of the Jedi book series would have been amazing, and I am forever sad.
Give me my animated series.
How did I jump up to the top here? What the heck? By the way, Danny, thank you for coming on, man. I love having you on. Seriously, we got a great dynamic, I think.
Thank you for introducing me to all these wonderful people, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk all day about this.
Anytime you want to come on, yeah, no, it's great.
Well, let's talk anime.
Yeah. Chaco's a big anime fan too.
Good. Well, I'm a casual anime fan, but I'm all Dragon Ball because it's like my thing. But I still like anime. So,
yo, who was your favorite character? Did we ever talk about this?
For Dragon Ball?
Yeah.
Frieza.
Oh, really?
He's one of the best villains. Look, if Palpatine is the best villain in the history of cinema, Frieza might be the best villain in the history of anime. Now, I could be wrong, because also JoJo's Dio Brando is one of the... You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know Dio.
Yeah, Dio is like, dude, I don't want to spoil it, but in the first episode, he throws a dog into a furnace.
Stop. I watched JoJo. I watched JoJo for a boy once. Biggest mistake. That's like the only anime I've ever watched. I was done. He threw the dog in there. Nope. Done.
Yeah, he throws a dog into a furnace, and I'm like, no, that's like cheap heat. Oh, man. But
Light Yagami.
Who?
Light Yagami.
Oh, okay. Of course.
Yeah, Light's great.
Yeah,
that's my favorite anime villain.
Bro, that's like one of the best. Yeah, Vegeta's mine too, dude.
Frieza's pretty much the same thing as Palpatine and Thanos. They're like, they have the big empire. They're the big. It's very similar, that archetype.
Sure. I think Palpatine would wipe Thanos out. No problem.
With or without the glove?
Right.
If he has
that's the question. With or without?
No,
with makes no difference.
No, bro.
Dude.
With that Infinity Gauntlet,
makes no difference.
Makes no difference.
You guys are simps. You guys don't understand.
Again,
if you can, when you can manipulate something from like halfway across the galaxy, let alone if the dude is right in front of you, I mean.
But that's what Thanos did.
That's what Thanos did.
But he has to do this first. If you freeze him and don't let him, like how they were trying to take his glove and like they were trying to like pry his fingers open. Palpatine can do that with his mind. He could.
See, that was a weird, right? But that was a weird MCU version. Like Thanos in the comics with the glove.
No,
dude,
in the comics, it's a different story.
He's like, it's not. He like makes multiples of himself and sends himself out to go learn about the universe while simultaneously doing the events of Infinity Gauntlet. Like there were these Thanos dude, he's beyond. Like,
it was. He actually literally just becomes a god.
He literally gets. He becomes so powerful. He kills Eternity, and he's like, I don't need the gauntlet anymore. I'm Eternity, bitch, and he just like floats up like.
he tore Iron Man in half, and then he grabbed Cap's head and just like popped.
And he doesn't need to close the glove to use it. Like that was a weird thing they did.
Yeah, power.
The comics version doesn't even give a crap about environmentalism. He did it all so he could like support death.
Yeah, he's a simp, dude, for sure. He's simping for death hard.
Comic book power scaling is so far and away beyond.
You're telling me
they dropped the ball because in Avengers you had the line to face them is to court death.
Right.
I was like, he's doing it.
He's hyped. Well, remember, Demi Moore was rumored to play Death. That was the rumor that we had back
then. And some people thought Hela. They thought maybe they would do it with Hela. Right. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
So, no.
And then she gets with Deadpool, bro. That's the funniest part. She gets with Deadpool. Oh my. Yeah, she has a thing for Deadpool because he can't die. Oh.
Yeah. In fact, I think the comic's called Thanos versus Deadpool. I think I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can't
very
kill
funny.
Deadpool. So what do you do? Like, how do you kill him?
I don't know.
Well, he can be killed, but it's just not easy. So
yeah,
but what I was
Wolverine.
saying was
Him and Wolverine. Like, who's harder to kill, him or Wolverine?
Power scaling is like
Deadpool.
beyond anything in the movies, dude. Like cosmic armor Superman, like it's just insane what they do in the comics compared to the movies.
Don't even bring that Pam or
Okay, what about World Breaker Hulk?
World Breaker Hulk's a bad mofo, bro.
Okay, so what about him versus Thanos with the gauntlet?
Oh no, he doesn't stand a chance.
No,
Thanos with the gauntlet. Yeah, Thanos with the gauntlet.
Like
the only person
it's reality warping powers,
Yeah, because and Thanos in the comics is a genius too. So he's a genius that knows, like, I think in the MCU it's implied that, like, because he's mortal, he lacks the complete understanding of like how to use the gauntlet. Like the closest that you see it is when he turns Drax and them into like ribbons and stuff.
Yeah,
that's like the closest to the comic book, because like he could just like.
Okay, what about against
just think of something that'll happen.
But he also flies around in a Thanos helicopter sometimes,
right?
and gets
the TVA took care of that.
arrested.
Took care of that.
Yeah, he gets beat by Squirrel Girl somehow. Like
the Spider-Man comic where he gets arrested by the cops, and you see Thanos in handcuffs, and like the regular like New York police officers are leading him away.
I would
like,
say maybe Franklin Richards. It's possible Franklin Richards at full power could possibly stand up to Thanos, or maybe like X-Man or the Beyonders. Like there's a couple characters that are that strong.
Josh,
but,
here's something for everybody.
Yeah.
Omni-Man, Superman, Homelander versus Thanos with the gauntlet.
All three on one?
All
Dude,
three
they
on one.
They don't stand a chance, bro.
Thanos, bro.
They literally stand no chance.
Crazy.
Bro, in the comics with the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos can think of you disappearing, you'll disappear.
Okay,
bro.
what about Goku and Beerus as well? And Vader is there, but Thanos has Padme. Like,
wait,
he had a chance against Thanos.
On Geekdom 101, I have a video called Goku versus Thanos, which breaks all this down. Go watch it.
You think he could stand a chance? Goku could tease it
watch
out.
the video, bro. Come
no,
on.
tease it a little.
I'm gonna give that away here. Geekdom 101. It's called Thanos versus Goku. Came out the week Avengers Infinity War came out. Go watch
it's one of those super situational things. You know what I mean? Like in Gauntlet, like the Silver Surfer's trying to go there super fast and like catch him off guard. Maybe Superman could go and like go live in the sun for a while.
Right. Well, if it was Superman from Justice League 1,000,000, that spent 1,000,000 years in the sun, like that is a different animal. That's a different.
Okay,
thing.
what about that Superman versus
that Superman? That Superman would stand a chance because he can because you could kill him and he would just manifest a new body and shit. Like,
and he can also manifest. Can he manifest mini Superman out of his hand or something like that?
Yeah,
that was an old thing. That was super weird.
Well, he creates a body for Lois. He brings Lois back to life and creates like a silver body for her. Like he's really
He played too much Mass Effect. Yeah,
bro, it's just funny how in comics they always have these characters that are just like you can't even fathom how strong they are. You know what I mean?
Like the dude was just like super inebriated or something, like
Well, like think about this. They have like universal tier and multiversal tier, and there's also omniversal tier, which means that your consciousness exists across the entire multiverse.
Right.
So like if you exist, like if there's variants of you, that means you're just one mortal, but there's beings that exist across the entire multiverse, one God.
That's
so
kind of like Shuma.
Like
Shuma Gorath is kind of like that in comics because he can go through dimensions and like destroy entire dimensions from like other realities. God Emperor Doom could whoop Thanos though because he takes the powers of the Beyonders. And dude, in Secret Wars, like Thanos rolls up on him and is like,
what about Owen Reese?
Owen Reese, so Owen Reese is an interesting one because he can be the battery for that kind of power, and I guess he could technically, but like he seems so impartial when he gets all that godlike power. I don't know. It's an interesting. He could probably do it if he was motivated to.
It's wild, bro.
Yeah.
What about Broom Boy?
Comics are weird. Like
Broom
Boy, greater than.
Did you say Silver Surfer is like the god of Marvel?
No, I mean he's Galactus is inherently stronger than him, but like the one above all would be considered.
That's the highest one.
Yeah, like that would be considered like God or whatever. But even beyond that, there's the Beyond.
Jack Kirby. Supposedly,
yeah, it's like a fourth world concept. But
I mean, like, who could take out the Silver Surfer?
Galactus could.
Galactus, Thanos,
Adam Warlock.
Doctor Strange probably could.
Doctor Strange in certain iterations could for sure. Magus, even Hyperion might be able to take the Surfer. Willbreaker Hall could probably take the Surfer. Just being real.
What?
I was going to say that.
A lot of this is also just hard to speculate sometimes because I feel like there was an interview that Stan Lee has had where he's been asked, who would beat who in certain fights, and he would always say, whoever is supposed to win to further the plot.
Yeah, for sure.
At the end of the day, that's always been his objective, to just further the plot. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, Eddie Brock beat Noel.
Okay, what about
that shit was dope, dude, with the God of Light? Yo.
What about the fact that Popeye punched the sun and gave it a black eye? Where do you rank in that?
Well, that's a lot of spinach, bro.
The
you
dude,
know what I mean?
remember the dude had a nuclear bomb in his bicep. Where's he at?
What?
Remember the episode?
Okay, but what if him
bomb in his bicep?
No, I don't remember that.
I remember this.
What if him and Saitama punch each other?
Dude, I was gonna do a video called Popeye versus Saitama. I never did it, bro.
Dude,
I swear to you, and I was gonna bring that up.
Would you say
it would have been tongue in cheek, but
all of Dragon Ball right now?
What about when Bugs Bunny, that Bugs
Granola?
Bunny cartoon where he jumps out of the cartoon and slaps like the guy
creator?
drawing it? What kind of power is that?
The Fantastic Four do that a couple of times. They meet Jack Kirby, and they had like this issue where Kirby's a god, and they like come out, and he's like this created god.
Yeah, well,
Jack Kirby could beat
there's a
everybody.
Dragon Ball panel in the comic where Goku smashes the panel.
For real?
He smashes one of the panels.
Vegeta should have smashed it and been like, "Give me justice."
It's like fifth dimensional stuff right there.
Yeah,
it's wild.
These are good chats. Well, I'm going to continue the super chats on my gaming channel once we're done. I don't want to sit you guys through everything. It's going to be like another hour.
Oh no, I thought you were going to keep. I was looking forward to hearing them. But that's okay. It's up to you.
Yeah, it's all good. You can pick some fun ones or do your thing.
Yeah,
Theory knows best. He's looking at him. He knows what he's looking at.
Yeah, it's going to take forever, so I'm going to do it on the gaming channel. So anyone who wants, if I didn't read your super chat, go on Theories Arcade. I'm going to read it right after we end this stream. But yeah, I'm looking at this
that's pretty smart, bro. I got to do that trick.
Is Anakin going to?
I just thought of it. I'm like, you know what? Why don't I give him over there
blessing
instead of doing it on this channel?
I have a question though. Is Anakin possibly going to come back and give his blessing to Luke and Ahsoka to be a?
No, shut up.
Stop it right now.
This guy.
Leave.
This guy.
I can't watch anymore.
That's why he shows up. Is Ahsoka is like, I'm going to ask for your son's hand.
Yeah.
No.
I'm having feelings.
Chat.
Kill him. Kill him now.
Yeah.
Every stream is like,
you thought you were gonna get out of an episode without a Luke Ahsoka drop.
No.
Let me ask
Do
you a
you
question.
actually ship this, or are you just trolling? Like,
Where did it come from?
You have to
Okay,
go
so-
to
It makes me
Oh,
uncomfortable.
He texts me at night. He's like, yo, dude, you see like the pictures on Google about Luke and his son? I'm like,
Bro,
don't
there's
send
some-
me this weird stuff.
Look, here's the thing. Like, if you just open up your mind a little, open up your third eye and
He
look
might
at
as well
these
be adopted
photos.
siblings.
My lord, is that legal?
I mean, you said
gosh,
it more than I didn't say it.
She's also 17 years older than him.
Yes. Yep.
She's experienced.
I got a question for you. Okay. What do you think is a better idea? What would you do? A, Luke dies a virgin in The Last Jedi. Or B, they figure out how to canonize Mara Jade and have them hook up at some point between 6 and 7, and then something happens to her, she dies, and that maybe helps lead to his.
I think Luke being a virgin kind of explains him being as grumpy as he is.
and
I want to see him
breast milk
download
from a-
Callista again.
Was that the dream, the wife that he had?
Yeah.
No, in the
Is
comics.
that from the
I mean, not
Hulk?
in the books. He there's a Jedi that uploaded their consciousness into a computer, like a Clone Wars era Jedi, and then like Luke is there with a friend of his who's a woman,
Bruh.
and she gets injured. Basically, he downloads this Jedi's brain into her body and then dates her.
It's like that scene from Blade Runner 2049.
What's the point?
Yeah, it's Blade Runner.
The robot girl.
That feels like Wonder Woman in 1984, man.
Yeah,
There's
that
a whole.
was
It's a whole.
That's
doesn't
weird.
feel right.
That is not consent.
No.
I'm just saying, it's not.
Why do you have that clip on standby? You just have.
So no Mara Jade then.
No.
Because
I want Mara Jade. You guys are crazy. I want Mara Jade. What the
I
hell?
want to see her, but they should end up getting killed anyways.
Yeah, that's the thing,
feel
right?
like-
How many people get killed in Star Wars? Like all of them.
Everyone.
Everybody.
Everybody dies.
I feel like if you do Mara Jade, people would be mad, and then I feel like if you do someone other than Mara Jade, people would be mad that it's not Mara Jade.
If you shoehorn a character that has that much history, like nobody's gonna be satisfied with that. Like, oh, maybe the idea, but like they're not gonna be able to do that same story. So then you're at the end of the day, you're gonna be like, well, why? What was the point? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is actually the time period that they could do it between.
Right. That's why.
Yeah. So I mean, they could
now.
fit her in somehow, not necessarily get to the romantic part, because obviously we don't have a Ben, Skywalker coming from their interactions, right? So maybe the way forward is that she and he don't actually get together, but there is some sort of interaction, because Mando is that time period.
Bruh,
Or maybe
what if
they
do retcon
have
it and Luke has
they
a
have a
son
romance.
that comes back or something?
Or
Sorry, go
maybe
ahead,
they
Sam.
have a romance and she dies before.
Right, that's what
they-
I'm saying. What if they
Right.
backdoor
Luke was
in
canonically-
Luke's children?
Luke was
What?
canonically spitting game at that one girl in the
The robot brain lady?
It was a it was a really bad book, but
Lando's girl.
It was Weapon of the Jedi, either Weapon of the Jedi or Heir to the Jedi. One
And
of
he's
those two canon books.
He's going for it.
Yeah. He meets this girl, and they're doing their thing. I can't remember if they actually hooked up, but they were into each other for sure. So canonically, Luke's got some game.
He's a Skywalker. He's got to.
I mean, I think game for shit, dog.
Anakin was hot.
I mean,
Yeah, dude.
Anakin pulled a queen.
Yeah, he did.
He's a slave boy.
It's called the
I should tell you
Force, dog. They had to create a whole magical system.
It's
of
called becoming a
destiny,
trophy
man.
husband.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey,
If
but
you
she's
didn't
a
get there,
trophy
that's
wife,
good.
though. She's a trophy wife, though.
For sure.
She's a good
No, she's
Who's the one
senator
earning
and
the
stuff.
money
Like
here?
she's
Yeah, but she's
who's the one providing protection here?
Who knows?
That doesn't constitute a trophy husband or wife. Trophy husband or wife is based on who makes less money.
Is that true?
Oh, then,
Yep.
if that's the case,
I
then
thought
it's they're literally an ornament to your
success.
whatever it is that you do. They're really equal. He's the top in the Jedi, and she's amazing.
I'm not saying.
I just don't think
I'm
he had
not saying
game, dude.
that it's
Are you an angel?
I'm just saying, if it wasn't for Anakin, those Kuhans would have taken Padme, and that would have been it. So she owes him big time.
What? Transactional?
Want to rephrase that?
Yeah, I don't know if that's exactly what you meant
She
to say there.
owes him her life. What do you mean? What are you talking about? The
Okay,
Kuhans, the
Clovis saved
slugs.
Padme's life in that same arc. Does she now owe him?
What?
Palpatine endangers everyone's life all the time.
I don't like
Is he
sand.
negative in this balance?
No, I'm just saying. In episode 2, the slugs, they would have
Yeah.
And Anakin jumped in and took care of it.
You talking about the ones where she's asleep?
Yeah, the Kuhans. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
If it wasn't for that,
Hey, he saved her. I mean, they saved each other a few times in that in the Coliseum. Kind of
True. Yeah, she's
know?
fierce. She's fierce in this film, actually.
Yeah, she's great in episode 2. She's fantastic in that movie.
I wish she was more like that in
Palpatine-
episode 3.
Palpatine almost gets caught a bunch
She's
of
not
times.
gonna be
Delegation of 2000 scenes should have been left in.
Yeah, true.
Oh,
but
yeah.
the knife scene at the end, I think that would have made her so much more badass. Because like in the
so much more
But it's out of
Yeah,
character.
like-
But it's out of character. I'm going
Yeah, I
know.
No, but you know when she finds out-
that scene till the day I die.
No, but she
It's
finds out that he
honest-
killed younglings, and then she's like, come away with me. We could even after that, and it's like, what?
I've
Yeah.
Bro,
I explained
thank
this like
you.
the third time I was on here. it's this whole thing of like, she's lost the Senate. She's lost her entire life's work since she was 12. And so the only part of her identity that she has latched onto that still exists is Anakin and her family. So at that point in time, she's not thinking clearly. She's just thinking, this is all I have left in life because my life's work has gone down the drain.
So love has blinded you?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Well, I feel
they're
like
both nuts.
Really love
love has blinded them both. In that moment,
they're both nuts.
Love has blinded them both. I think she would have come to her senses if she had a moment, because like her losing the Senate happened within the last 24 hours. But in that moment, she is under extreme duress. So you can't blame her for thinking, I can get through to him. I can still save what is left of my life.
I mean, it's just funny. I killed them all. The women, the children.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Oh, and she's okay. We all get mad from time to time. Yeah. It's all right.
It's all right, honey. Come here.
Okay.
I just made a TikTok where I inserted her from V for Vendetta. So he says all that, and it goes to her, and she's like, "Oh, you're like a crazy person."
Yeah. That's a great movie, bro. That's a great movie. I love that movie.
Great.
Maria, you quiet.
I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about anime. I just got into Marvel, so I've just been listening and listening from the experts. But you know what I think is out of character that actually like happened with Padme is like, you know, she always put her like work first, right? And her priorities first. I personally don't think she died from sadness. That's not my like belief. Of course, it's like canon. But she wouldn't just leave her kids. She wouldn't leave her kid. Like, that would be her new motivation. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that, you know, Anakin turning to the dark side made her extremely depressed and about it. But like, I seriously think she would have fought for her children. She wouldn't have died from sadness because she had something to fight for.
You think it was Palpatine that killed her?
Yes.
I use the real life example of Debbie Reynolds in this situation because she still had another child. She had a grandchild, and yet she still passed away within 24 hours after Carrie.
Yeah.
So
that's always unfortunate when it happens.
It's one of those things where I think mentally the body just couldn't deal with the stress and the mental instability that was happening in that moment. So I don't think it mattered the fact that she logically had more reasons to live. I think at that point her body was just overloaded with emotion.
But the doctor said she's in perfect health. Like the droids said she's in perfect health. We just don't understand it.
But physical health is different than mental health.
Yes.
I personally think Palpatine.
I mean that's true, but your organs have to cease to function, you know. So I get what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying, but they have to stop functioning. And so, but one of the things that I agree with Maria. I think that Palpatine had more to do with it than they admit, because
like he
planned
it. It's a planned thing. Like he literally had it planned out to manipulate Anakin, forcing those dreams into his head. He knew about it all, and then you kill two birds with one stone.
They do a good job of showing the death of Padme and Sidious finding Anakin on Mustafar, him touching his head, her dying at that time. And you can also remember that and when they were in, after he was suited up and he sits up, he can't feel Sidious, right? That's why he just started trying to crush everything in the goddamn room, because Sidious was trying to hide himself. He was manipulating Anakin at that point still, because he's like, you know, it seems in your anger you killed her. He's like, no,
a way to
she was alive.
Back. It's a way to, you know, make him crumble. A way to, like, the reason why Vader is so powerful is because he hates himself so much. So by telling him, "Oh, you killed Padme," and he knew about this, like it's all planned out. Like he allows Vader to crumble even more, and like
everything
the fact
was Palpatine's manipulation.
Exactly.
Everything was. So why would it stop there? Every single thing revolving around Anakin was Sidious's manipulation.
a question for everyone here. Well, actually, I want to shout out Roberto Blake in the chat. He's the super chat. I watch your stuff all the time.
So do I. So
it's cool
appreciate you.
But do you guys think there was a time jump between him finding Vader and Vader being completed in the suit?
No.
He makes a comment. No.
Well, it would have been a short time jump, like maybe an hour, because it takes a while to get back to the ship.
You have to pick him up, get him to the ship, fly to the place, and we don't know how long the whole operation takes. But the reason behind the question is with when he says that Padme is dead, does he know how Padme is dead for certainty? Is he just spitballing there?
That's a good point.
I feel like it's highly possible that he's just spitballing, especially since he knows that Obi-Wan was the one who left Anakin there. He knows that he probably knows that Obi-Wan probably got to Anakin because of Padme, and therefore Padme would be with Obi-Wan. So, in his sort of logic, he's probably thinking, well, whether she's dead or alive, she's most likely hiding with Obi-Wan. So,
I mean, I like the idea that Palpatine kind of used the Force to drain her life, and that's the theory that I think Dash made a video about it years ago, that maybe he drained her life and gave it to keep Anakin alive. I mean, it doesn't say in the movie.
That's what I said.
Well, also, if she's still without Padme, Anakin has nothing. He's rock bottom now, which means Palpatine can do whatever he wants. If she survives, then he still has another person that he's emotionally serving. Without her,
and
he has nothing else.
Attachment.
I mean, originally. Sorry. Go ahead, Marie.
And another thing is the time jump between when Vader's putting on the suit and stuff. I don't think that's huge enough, because we know that when Padme died, they tried to cover up the fact that her babies were still alive. It took time to prepare the ceremony. So in theory, when you look at, for example, Palpatine already insinuating those dreams into Anakin, he knew that Padme would die. That was his plan. That's how I see it, because then as soon as she died, he already knew she was dead. And then, it could be a spitballing kind of situation. But
I think his plan was for Padme to die no matter what.
Well, remember, they're cutting between the different shots of Vader becoming Vader, but they're showing her giving birth.
I think there's a point that it cuts in between constantly, they're doing it together that.
And then they show her on that bed with Jar Jar on everybody's side, so that had to have been at some point after. So I feel I don't think it happened at the exact same time. I think it was I think what really happened was Lucas had to finish the movie and tell all these stories, so he had to kind of do a back and forth thing. It's editorial time, as opposed to it being actual time. Because after Obi-Wan left Anakin burning, he had to go back, find Padme's body, load her onto the ship, then go,
No, she was already on the ship. Because
C-3PO onto her in there.
So Obi-Wan goes to the ship and she's already resting.
But we also don't know how long Anakin lied there in the boat.
Yeah. And then
enough to crawl his way up agonizingly for a little bit.
You know what was actually kind of cool was in the Junior novelization, Palpatine jumped down to the low ground, grabbed Anakin, and then Force jumped out of there and just and was carrying him. And then just put him on the ground.
That is pretty cool.
I think that would have been pretty sweet to see.
It wasn't long at all, because, I guess it's not canon, but in the novelization, the reason why Obi-Wan left was because he sensed Palpatine coming. That was the only reason why he left. Yeah.
I don't like that though.
Well, that's the novel.
Well, you saw him overhead. He saw a ship flying overhead.
Otherwise, he would have been able to see that he actually did die. He said, "Oh shit, he's coming. I got to get the hell out of here," because there's no way he was going to defeat Sidious.
That was one reason why he didn't also go down there and kill Anakin, because he's I could either get stuck there, or Palpatine's here in a minute anyway. So then I'm dead. What's the point?
Exactly.
I see. Okay, when you put it
also originally in the because I think some of that is also just afterthought in the Star Wars Archives book. It talks about how George originally envisioned that Padme would live for 6 months after giving birth.
Yes, which coincides with what Leia said in Jedi. I was very young or whatever. But I don't like that because if you watch Jedi before seeing the prequels, it's almost implied that Padme was alive until she was like maybe 4 or 5 years old. And then she died of sadness because her husband left.
He's doing dishes.
That's me.
What is that noise?
What is that?
Don't worry about it.
Okay, all I was saying was that if you watch Return of the Jedi before seeing the prequels, which we all did, well, I did, like it's almost implied like she died. She died when I was very young. I remember feelings. So it's almost like it's implied that Padme lived until she was like 5 or 6. And I feel like George may have forgotten that. I know he kind of retconned it, but I think he may have like forgotten that he wrote that into Jedi. Because I feel like had he remembered, he probably would have kept her alive and then had her die just because she kind of knew that Vader was never coming back. But then that would have kind of changed things because if Vader knew she was alive, maybe he would have considered it. See, it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot right there. You know?
Maybe Leia confused her visions as memories.
That's what I think. But it's still kind of a retcon because I feel like when George wrote Jedi, he originally envisioned her surviving a few more years. Because if you read books like The Secret History of Star Wars, this dude changed his mind like 100 times. I mean, in Empire, you had like, what was it? In Empire, you had where originally it was to be Yoda and Anakin and Obi-Wan training Luke before he decided that Anakin and Vader were one guy when he was in Mexico. And then, like, you know, he originally planned for Palpatine to actually be Anakin's father in Revenge of the Sith. There's a lot of things that he changed along the way. A lot. I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
That was just in the draft. That was just in the draft of the script. But also, I feel like George can retcon anything he wants, you know?
No, I know that, but you're right. But it's still a retcon. Like, even in Dragon Ball, like, Goku was never an alien until Toriyama decided he was an alien. So the creators do it all the time. I'm just saying that it's funny that Star Wars, even Vader being Luke's dad is a retcon because that wasn't what was planned out in A New Hope. Yeah, so, like, I think
you're speaking Chaco's language.
I don't know as much of a retcon as it was just moving forward.
Well, it wasn't a retcon because it was never established.
Yeah,
it was just him
retroactive continuity.
Yeah, but Obi-Wan said Vader betrayed and murdered your father. That was taken as a literal statement. And like I said,
but maybe that's taken as an exactly.
What? But
it's taken as a literal statement.
That's a retcon.
No, that is what
the original. In one of the original drafts for Empire, Luke was going to train with the ghost of Anakin, the ghost of Obi-Wan, and Yoda. Yes. And then when Lucas went to Mexico, I think it was like 2 a.m. He stayed up at night, and then he realized, why don't I just make Anakin and Vader the same person?
But
that's the story that was in the book.
Why do you know that?
Also, there's a
you know deleted... that because that was written. I'm just saying if you take all of that out and just focus in on the story itself, and not the extras. You know,
but
you know what I'm saying?
No,
I saying
that like
I know, but I'm talking about like
there's a whole deleted scene where a guy comes and talks to Luke about his father when he's about to get on the X-wing as well.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. That even if it didn't make the final cut of the film, it's still like looking in the creator's brain. He still had this idea and then changed trajectories.
It's retroactive
I'm not saying
continuity.
It's a bad thing. Honestly, I think that Vader being Luke's father is probably the best retcon in the history of maybe storytelling. Because look what it did for the look what it did for everything. Like so it's interesting to me. But you don't have to call it a literal retcon. It's like more of an idea.
It's like an idea and like the other way.
Different pathways, yeah.
That would have been wild if he had Luke training with the ghosts.
I mean, don't forget that, like, originally, according to what the book says, there were multiple like Sith lords, and the Emperor wasn't even a Sith lord. Like originally, the Emperor in A New Hope, take away all the other stuff. The Emperor was like a regular guy. He wasn't even like a Sith lord.
Right?
That was like a puppet. He was a puppet.
Yeah. There's interesting stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of things they changed.
Well, because there was some legend stuff that was actually like taking that idea a little bit, and I think then that becomes some of the framework for Old Republic stuff. Like, don't they take some of that and like put it into the Old Republic? It's interesting.
Yeah, like the Jedi Bendu, and how like in one draft, remember Mace Windu?
Yeah,
I was just reading about that today.
I wish they would do like a what if thing where they adapt that story. I wish that they would do stuff like that because that'd be pretty awesome.
It would be cool if they did like adaptations of like old drafts as like a what if.
Yes,
kind of that would be cool.
Yeah. Have you read
so many different drafts? There's so many.
Yeah.
Have you read the Star Wars comic? That is a whole comic book based off of the original draft.
Is that real?
Yeah.
I thought that sounds like I didn't know they actually made that.
No, it's called The Star Wars, and you look
really,
and it's Ralph McQuarrie's old art, and Han Solo's a green alien.
The Journal of the Will stuff.
It's pretty wild.
Dude, that sounds. I'm gonna look. Thanks for telling me. I didn't even know that existed. I had no idea that was even real. That's something I would want to look at.
Yeah.
I feel like a casual babby, but I'm not.
You're not.
You're a casual babby, you motherfucker.
I'm not. Well, when it comes to the OT, I know my shit. It's just some of the new stuff I don't know much about because I don't like.
Yeah.
I've actually never heard that before. Casual babby. That's kind of fun.
Casual babby, bro. Yeah.
What does that mean? Just like a casual fan?
Whoa! Look at that Grogu. Holy God.
That's amazing.
Look at how cute. It's Squishmallow.
Oh,
Squishmallow, huh?
My gosh, Googling like right now.
Yeah, that's pretty,
what is that?
It's pretty awesome.
That's cute, dude.
Yeah. I sleep with it every night. It takes up like my whole bed. Oh, really?
It was like a fat ball.
Literally, that is what it is.
It's giant.
It is what it is.
It's cute.
Hey, chat's being real cool, yo. Thanks for the kind words. Like I said, I'm not like a Star Wars expert when it comes to like all of the EU stuff because there's so much EU, like you just can't read it all. But when it comes to those original 3 movies and stuff like that, that's where I know my stuff. I'm really good at the old stuff. But like they put out so many books now since Disney took over, even before then, it's hard to keep track of all that stuff, man. It's a lot of content, So.
That's pretty sweet. Choco put that link in there, guys, if you want to get that. It's $70 for that. Holy mother loving.
Kindle edition's $9.
True. And Comixology. You can get it on Comixology. That's pretty dope.
Somebody said no love for Rogue One or Solo. You know what? Honestly, like I kind of liked Solo more like the second or third time I saw it. Is that movie still hated? Because I didn't hate that movie. I thought it was okay.
I didn't hate Solo? One was ever Solo. Wait, which one are we talking about?
Solo, it kind of grew on me.
I love Solo. After watching The Last Jedi, I wasn't originally going to go see it, but then my friend graduated from high school and was like, "Let's go see it." So I did, and it actually made me like regain some of my faith in Star Wars. It did.
Solo bad.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Solo's like
Solo
folding clothes and you toss it on and you. I mean, I enjoy it, but it's not like.
That's my least favorite Star Wars movie.
Solo's like good, but it's just it was not that it's unnecessary, but I could have lived without it. You know what I mean? It's not revolutionary for me.
Oh, it's
honestly, when you think about it, all of these new Disney movies are pretty unnecessary.
It's not 100% necessary. I will give you that.
Rogue One was
it's not 100% necessary, but I still enjoy it.
I think Rogue One has, in my opinion, the second best third act of any Star Wars film. I think Return of the Jedi has the best third act, but Rogue One, that third act, bro,
it's pretty good.
Like
it's phenomenal, bro.
I feel like
yes,
I feel like the third act is the only part of the movie, though. I mean. I've grown to like it a lot more. I've grown to like it a lot more, especially because I did an episode of my podcast on it where I had big fans of it come on and just gush about it. Then I rewatch it and see how I feel. But like I still feel like it was written backwards. Like they wrote the third act and then we're like, all right, we're gonna hit this target.
We need exposition now.
Some people, some writers do that though. There's
well, the third act was in the crawl of the first Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
They had to figure out how they were going to position Vader so that he didn't, take over the movie. Right. Yeah.
Hey, I don't care what anybody says. That first scene of Vader when the door opens up like the Undertaker coming out, bro, and you see the shadow and he's walking out, and they play the slow dude, and then when you hear James Earl Jones, look, I became a fan of Director Krennic, like. What the hell?
The Maria again.
What? Hello?
Is it me?
What?
Hello? Was it Lauren?
What is going on?
It was Lauren. It's Lauren.
Lauren, what are you doing?
This sounds like a ghost.
I am your father.
This is exactly what Maria said.
It's because you guys those AirPods.
What's going on?
Those AirPods are whack.
Don't
There's a disturbance in the force. Are you doing this on purpose?
All right, I'm just gonna mute Lauren. Wait, why is this all happening? What the hell?
What is going on here?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Are we back
Okay.
now?
Sorry,
Sounds like we were all
my
just
AirPods
possessed.
that was my computer's fan. Sorry. It was
Oh, is it overheating?
Little bit.
Your computer's fan made us sound like droids?
Is that
It's
what it
Halloween.
sounded like last time when it was me? Is that what it sounded
Yeah.
like?
Pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta
Hey,
get
don't-
wireless headphones.
Don't mind me. I was just marking out over Vader in that.
Don't you
movie.
have wireless
Hearing
headphones?
James Earl Jones again.
No,
in that
I need
movie.
like a headset. Like. I need to
Oh,
buy a
like me, so you
headset.
can look like Leia,
Ye-
me, Callus,
Yeah,
and
so I
Josh.
can be
Shocker.
cool. So I can be a cool influencer. Yeah, I need a headset.
I wouldn't
10
call
bucks.
us that.
These aren't even plugged in. They just complete the looks.
Winter is coming.
Really?
No, they're plugged in, bro. Come on. Huh?
I don't know, man. Who knows?
Shit.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
No, okay. People in the chat. All right. Yeah, the point I was going to make is that Vader was awesome in that movie, and Rogue One had a great third act, and the story was lacking a little bit, but the third act was just phenomenal. And I was just saying that the third act was actually the crawl for A New Hope. They just took that and made it into the third act. But it was I always will love the third act. I wish they would release those deleted scenes though. Because like half the movie like was changed or whatever. You know that story about like half of it was like changed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Later
Like
on the
reshoot.
beach.
Yeah, and like the TIE fighter that shows up when she's like on the catwalk
Yeah.
thing.
You can
like, there's
see
a
some
You
bunch
just
of
have to
it.
wear the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You just have to
man.
watch
Well-
the trailer and you know.
Dude, watch my interview with Gary Whitta, the guy who wrote.
It
Rogue
was
One.
incredible.
It was
That's
a
one of my
really
favorite
great
interviews you
interview.
did.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too, man.
It was so great hearing this, like some of his ideas about like Vader on the beach. I'm like, how does it feel to have that power, knowing you
Yeah,
could like
and just
do that?
His overall like how
So
he sees Star Wars.
Did Disney change it? Is that what it was?
There's like a boardroom. Go watch the interview. I'm gonna pull a geekdom. Go watch the
All
interview.
right, I will. I will do that. I will do that.
Also, big shout out to everyone subscribed. You guys just surpassed me over 3,050,000. It was at 3,040,000
Nice.
for a while there. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yay.
And Josh's girlfriend is in chat.
Say what? She's probably like, get off the stream.
Guys.
Did you have a good
Such
time
a
in the
great
Big Apple,
group
Josh?
tonight.
Yeah,
dang.
we had a great time. We went, actually we went and saw my first Broadway play was Phantom. I've never seen a Broadway play.
How did you like it? Did you love
Yeah.
it?
I was actually blown away. So I mostly did it just for her, right? Because she likes musicals. And I thought I was gonna have to suffer through it, but like I was like, it's all Gucci. It's what it's what she's into. I was legitimately blown away. I actually want to go see more musicals now. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
That was the first
Wait,
one
you
I saw too.
should. This
Which
is-
one did you
this is
see?
literally-
Yeah.
Phantom of the Opera. Yeah.
This is literally
It was
just like a crazy plug, but a guy that is in my drama class at school, he recently had to take a leave of absence because he's currently in Jagged Little Pill on Broadway. So I'm going to plug that one. So everyone should go see that one.
I heard extremely controversial things about that. I'm gonna have to text
There's
you
some,
about
there's
that
some,
later.
there's some.
Alanis
No, I know
Morissette
about
musical?
that. He's not involved in that. That happened before he joined.
Okay.
He's not involved in that, and his character has nothing to do with that. So.
I was gonna say the first time I ever heard Jagged Little Pill was the Alanis Morissette,
Alanis Morissette,
album
yeah,
title.
is that what it is?
That's what
I'm
it
from the
is.
90s.
It's a jukebox musical
Okay.
using Alanis Morissette songs to create a story, like Mamma Mia.
That's very 90s. That
Not to be confused
album-
with Jagged Little Thrill, which is very, very different.
Oh, let's see the puppy.
Choco, I can't get
know.
We go Peppers.
crying.
Yeah, every now and then, half of the time she's sitting behind me in the chair because she doesn't
Oh
like
my
the-
goodness.
Aw.
My heart.
That's one thing I missed.
By the
was
way, I found that comic that does Star Wars. I found it. And the cover of it looks awesome, bro. I'm gonna pick that up because I'm always a big fan of that kind of
that
stuff.
cover does look dope for sure.
Like,
I
dude,
have
they
that
just
downstairs.
released Batman '89, the comic, and anytime you
yeah.
take something like that, I'm in.
Anyone a Nintendo fan here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have a limited edition red Wii from like 2010.
Dude, they just released the N64 pack today.
Oh,
really?
For Ocarina of Time. Yeah, Ocarina of Time, GoldenEye.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yo, that's kind of hot. I
Oh,
mean,
man, GoldenEye, bro.
Dude, can you play GoldenEye? Can you play multiplayer GoldenEye?
Can you play online?
I used to, but it doesn't hold up anymore.
I don't think you can do online. I don't think so.
Of course,
then
it's Nintendo.
That'd be wild. Could you imagine?
That'd be amazing, bro. That'd be super fun. Odd jobbing it up, right?
Yeah.
Perfect Dark.
Just kneeling.
Dude,
and like,
Perfect Dark 64. Holy shit, Danny.
Perfect Dark,
that is
bro.
one of the best video games ever made. It was so ahead of its time. Oh man.
The best video
and
game
then they
ever
try to
made.
make another one, Perfect Dark Zero, and
yeah, on the Xbox, whatever.
Nothing will
360 or
ever
whatever.
top Conker's Bad Fur Day, but it never got re-released.
That was questionable for kids to be playing.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't care. None of us cared.
Yeah.
it's 90 kids. We grew up. Okay. Hey, you were born in the. Yeah, you were the same age, Joe.
Me?
You were born in 1990. No, Choco.
87.
Me too.
Oh, you got me. I got you by 3 years. I'm 84. 87.
And for the people in the chat, the dog is named Suki after Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh my gosh.
Very adorable.
I'm crying.
How old?
Suki's 2. Cute. Yeah.
Precious.
Oh,
It's like Lauren
my
just saw
dog
it
back
now.
in LA is 9. What?
It's like Lauren just saw
No,
the
I
dog.
saw
now.
it. No, I was the first one to point it out.
No, you
Check.
weren't. Stop lying.
Yes, I
She-
was. Check
in the
the
chat.
Girls love
comment.
dogs, man.
Just go watch
Girls love
Mandalorian.
dogs.
That
Oh
dog
my
is a big fan of the
Lauren will
Mandalorian,
never
just so you know.
live this down.
No.
Actually, this dog does have some Mandalorian scarves, Mandalorian and Grogu scarves.
That's cool.
Goals.
Let's go.
Well, I think we exhausted this one. 3 hours long. What do you think? Unless you got some more to say. Anybody want to
Thank you
talk
guys
about anything?
for
Or?
having us on.
Cat's like, no, I'm out of here. I'm done.
No, I just like to say thanks.
See y'all later.
But I know you have to read all your super chats. Those people are probably like waiting.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go on the gaming channel and do it, and not keep everyone preoccupied. But yeah, this was fun. I mean, return next week, and we love you guys. Thanks for the supers. Thanks for the engagement and just coming in and making this podcast what it is today. So we appreciate it. And big shout out to our new guest, Geekdom 101. You can go check out his videos and his channel. And of course, everyone else here. I'm gonna pop their names up so you can go follow them on their socials.
Yes, I want their socials.
Oh wait, then I should change mine to my actual social then, because that is not how my thing is spelled.
Lauren, just Lauren.
Find all your-
There we
you can find
go.
all your socials.
There we go.
Lorene.
Laureen. All right. Love you guys. We'll catch you later. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Later.
Bye.